And welcome back, everybody, to another live reaction here at I'm Not a Coach. I'm your host. Thank you for joining us, man. And what? Let's go. I think I said a live reaction. We're actually doing a hangout, man. Season's over. Holy cow, man. How you doing? How you doing? How have you been? How's the off season treating you, man? It's dawning on me, man. It's the body's finally recognizing that football season is done, and I don't think it's liking it, man. I think the body is breaking down, and I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna survive another 5.5 months. I don't like it. I don't like it. But we got Parker Curry. Let's go. What's going on? How you doing? How you doing? Thank you for joining us. Let's go. Let's go. Give me 1 second, guys. Yeah, man. Holy cow! Welcome back, man. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, man. We're gonna be hanging out once again. We did it last week. We went like almost 2 hours last week just talking. We talked a little bit of football. We recapped the Super Bowl. That was some really fun. Some major storylines during that Super Bowl. We talked about obviously Kenneth Walker winning the MVP. Sam Darnold obviously being the first of the 2018 draft class of quarterbacks to win the Super Bowl. And then we also talked about some non major stories, some things that kind of went under the radar. The performance by the Seattle special teams, their kicker, their punter, who was phenomenal. Both of them incredible in that game. The underappreciated performance of Christian Gonzalez in the losing effort. We talked about that, and once again, we'll be doing the same thing. I will be doing the same thing this week. We're going to be recapping the NFL playoffs, some of the bigger storylines as we did with the Super Bowl, and then maybe a few players, few storylines that maybe, in my opinion, did not get enough coverage throughout the those weeks that we are kind of figuring out which team is actually good, which team is bad. Are these just bad offenses, or are they really good defenses? We didn't know, and yeah, man. So we're gonna be doing that today. But in between all of that, we're gonna talk about whatever, man. Last week we talked about movies, we talked about music, we talked about just about everything in those 2 hours, man. So once again, if we get to the football stuff, great. But if we end up just hanging out, talking about other stuff, about our lives, about other things, it's all good, man. It's the off season, so welcome, welcome. But yeah, man. So I'm gonna let kind of people kind of get situated. We'll see if we get a few more people to show up and kind of hit up the chat. But yeah, sorry. I think I have a hair. Sorry. Anyway, but yeah, man. Let's go. Where's the mouse? Where's the mouse? Sorry. I feel like I hit it. There we go. Sorry. Once you have long hair, man, it kind of gets everywhere. Sorry. Sorry for if anybody saw that. But anyway, but yeah, so while we're waiting for people to come through, let's talk about some of the major stories. That's kind of what I did last week. Talked about some of the bigger stuff that we've all heard. We've discussed it. People have, it was on ESPN, CBS, whatever it is. We know these stories, but I'm gonna give my take on it. If you guys want to jump in, please do not hesitate. I want to hear from you guys specifically. I know what I think. I've heard what ESPN thinks and all that BS, but I want to hear what you guys think of these topics as I bring them up one at a time. So we're going to start out with the special, let me see here, the wild card. We'll start out with the wild card round here. Just some major storylines that we kind of did not, some of the major storylines that we kind of got a lot of coverage on. So the first one I want to talk about is this guy right here, Jawan Jennings, man. Um, this guy was not having a great game in the wild card. He finished with some solid numbers. I think he finished with this was during the Eagles game. I think he caught one pass for 45 yards. That was really his only receiving contribution, but it was a massive one that got them past midfield, got them, I think they kicked a field goal for that drive, I think. So it got him into scoring position, gave him a chance. But his biggest contribution to that win against the defending Super Bowl champions was this one, throwing a pass to this guy right here, Christian McCaffrey, on a trick play. That was Jawan Jennings' second career touchdown throw in the playoffs. That is the most for a single receiver in a postseason career. That is two. He threw one in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs a couple years ago. That was in a losing effort. This time, able to win and beat the Eagles. So, you know, you take the good with the bad. RB, good to see. Hey, good to see you. How you been? Let's go, man. Heck yeah. Welcome, welcome. How's the off season treating you? Let me know. Let me know. Heck yeah, dude. RB, man. Haven't seen you in a couple weeks. I think yeah, it's been. I'm trying to think. Was it the championship round or the divisional round? But yeah, welcome, welcome, welcome back, man. Sorry, I have to get the caffeine. Otherwise, I will start yawning for some reason. It always happens every single time. Around this time, I start to get very, very sleepy, but I can't sleep. So, all right, but yeah. So yeah, I wanted to talk about this was a little bit of a big storyline. It was one of the few touchdowns in that game. It was a little bit of a defensive slugfest. A lot of mistakes by the Eagles. Very inefficient offense, which we saw throughout most of the season for the Eagles. And the 49ers were kind of in that middle ground of just kind of settling for field goals and punts. And then this one was just an unexpected little spike in some energy there. Jawan able to hit Christian McCaffrey. Basically, I think it was a 29-yard touchdown, which was the longest touchdown throw of that game. So that was pretty cool. That was really, really awesome. Steve, let's go. The Bears are moving. I can't believe it. Are they? I know Indiana passed like some legislation. I think. Hopefully it's legislation. I don't know if it was like some other stuff, but yeah, man, Indiana is really trying to get the Chicago Bears to move, and I don't know if it's official though. All right, so this is from the governor of believe of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, suggests no matter how Indiana versus Illinois fight goes, um, new Bears home will not be in Chicago. So to me, once again, this is Chicago Tribune. How much of this is true or not? Even if that is true, I think that was been already kind of been established like a year ago when the Bears bought some land that was I think like 30 or 40 minutes away from Chicago. So even if everything was going correctly for Chicago, the Bears, the state of Illinois, it looked like the Chicago Bears were going to be moving out of Chicago anyway. But now the question is, how far out of Chicago are they going to be? Is it going to be out of the state? Um, the interesting thing is, the weird thing is, the stadium or the area that they're talking about in Indiana is actually, I think they said like 4 or 5 minutes closer to their current stadium, Soldier Field in Chicago, than the new site that is in Illinois. Yeah, basically the place in Indiana is like 37 to 39 minutes away from where they are currently, and the new site in Illinois that they bought like a year or two ago is like 40 minutes away. So it's even like it's such a weird thing. So if they stay in the state of Illinois, they're technically moving further away from where they are now. But if they go to Indiana, they are going to be slightly closer by a few minutes, but they're going to be in a different state. So freaking weird. Let me see here. Steve, Tyreek Hill is gone. Yeah, whatever. That was expected, unfortunately. Even if Tyreek would have stayed healthy, I think this was going to be his last season in Miami. His contract was massive, man, and obviously the Dolphins were probably going to be blowing that roster up, kind of basically a full rebuild, and you don't want a 35 to almost $40 million receiver on that roster, especially one that's going into his what, early 30s, right? I think he's like 30, 31. So yeah, dang. But Steve, what's going on, brother? How you doing? How you doing? Yeah, I'm not too surprised with the Tyreek Hill, but yeah. But anyway, I wanted to bring up this story here, man. It was really cool. It was nice to see Jawan make an incredible freaking throw, something that we don't typically get to see. It seems like it happens like once every like 4 to 5 years. You see a receiver make an incredible freaking throw, man. And Jawan, right now, most touchdowns in postseason history by a receiver. So most uh, passing touchdowns by a receiver in postseason history. So pretty cool. I tried to get a better picture of this play, but I couldn't find anything that wasn't AI. And like I said, I don't try to use that stuff or at all, to be honest with you. So, yeah. All right. Next one. This was let me see. Actually, no. Sorry. Trying to keep it with the the wild card round. So speaking of the wild card round, we're going to talk about these next two topics are going to be about the same game, basically, just talking about different sides of the ball. But yeah, Steve and the Titans continue their love with bald coaches. Hey, man, hey, it's good luck, man. It's good luck when you rub the bald head. And I think right now the Tennessee Titans need all the luck they need, man. I think before every game they got to rub those heads. Just rub the head, maybe give it a kiss, a little bit of a smack on one of them, every once in a while. And if anybody's joining in right now, they're gonna be like, "What the hell is Dave talking about?" We're talking about bald heads. All right, keep your mind out of the gutter. All right, there's a family show. But yeah, man, how many coaches did they hire within like a week and a half that were all bald? I think it was like what, like 8 to 10. It was wild. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of wax gonna be used in over there in Tennessee. And I hope this happens. And if it does, man, hopefully we get some Titans games on the channel. I don't think we ever did. I don't think we ever officially did a Tennessee Titans game on the channel. I think that was the one team we did not get a chance to. We did switch. The NFL did switch over to one of them. I think it was the Rams in Tennessee. During like I think it was like sometime in like week 4 or 5 or whatever it was. But we never did officially one. But anyway, if we do one, if we get a chance to do one next season, I hope the fan base embraces all the bald coaches with some bald caps in the stands, man. Just get them all shining on the home side, man. Let me see here. But yeah, so talking about this game here, the Chargers and the Patriots. That was one of the wild card matches. It was an incredible performance by the Patriots. They sacked Justin Herbert 6 times, man. It was a rough game for the Chargers, man. They just completely were unable to run the ball. They struggled running the ball for a good chunk of the season. There was a little bit there early on where they looked solid. During the middle of the season, they had a couple guys, but throughout the final month, man, they could not run the ball to save their lives. Despite Justin Herbert getting sacked 6 times, I think he finished as the leading rusher in that game. If he wasn't the leading rusher, trust me, he was not far off from being the leading rusher for them. Yeah, man, the Patriots defense just absolutely destroyed him, man. Even though they only got to him they only brought him down 6 times. There easily could have been another 3 to 5 uh, if it wasn't for Justin able to either just muscle his way out of it, get rid of the ball, or just simply able to just throw the ball away at the very last second. So, yeah, the Patriots defense, man, just a dominant performance. Something that kind of has gotten lost in the talks of how badly they played in the Super Bowl, as well as their I don't want to even want to say it was a bad performance. I think it was just a bad performance by the offense during the AFC Championship game. The Patriots defense, man, they were playing dang good football, man. Their defense, especially down the stretch, playing some really good football during the last month and a half, up until the Super Bowl. It just weren't able to really muster much of anything. But yeah, and during this game, man, they just hounded one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And yeah, the Chargers, their offensive line, as bad as we thought and have seen the Patriots' offensive line struggle, the Chargers' offensive line somehow even worse throughout this game. So yeah, Steve, Justin was very bad. Don't get me wrong, Justin for sure did not elevate his guys during this game. But when you're getting pressured, and I mean pressured, it wasn't just like, oh, there's a defender kind of with it. Like, I mean, he had to break some tackles. It seemed like if it wasn't every other drop back, it was every third drop back. He was running for his life. So I'm not trying to give him excuses, but it's tough to play quarterback when you have maybe a second and a half to be able to find somebody down the field. So yeah, man. So yeah, Justin didn't play well, but that offensive line was horrendous. No running game to support you. I think they were averaging less than 2 yards. Actually, might have been less than a yard and a half per run. And when your only receiver that's getting open is your slot receiver, it's not going to be. And also the Patriots, I would say their strength was their secondary throughout the playoffs. Even during the Super Bowl, I think their secondary played pretty well. So yeah, so I think the only thing that could have saved the Chargers is if their receivers were able to get open, and they weren't. So yeah, I feel for Justin because I think he could have had a decent performance against this defense, but nobody was helping him. Offensive line, running game, nothing was working. But yeah, man. But just wanted to give a shout out to the Patriots defense, man. They're getting kind of dragged a little bit through the last couple games, but through the first wild card divisional round, they played great. I really don't expect Mike will improve that either way. Yeah. It's gonna be interesting because I didn't I should have and I eventually will, but didn't really get a chance to look at much of what Mike Daniels was able to do as a coordinator before he became the head coach for Miami. But I remember his first 2 seasons in Miami, dude. He had one of the most explosive offenses. And I think I did mention this last week. If they can get even just 2 years like that in Los Angeles, out of McDan, out of Mc, Jesus, out of Daniels, it'll be worth it. If they can look like the way Miami did the first 2 years there with Tua, Tyreek, Waddle, all those guys, Devin Achan, if they can get to that kind of offense, even for 2 years, there's a chance this Chargers team, with the defense that they have, with the coaching they have, they can make a run. I'm not saying they're going to win it. I'm not going to say they're going to make it to the Super Bowl because they've had a history of just choking. But I could see this team being more dangerous than they were this year, or at least offensively. So, yeah. But I do agree with you, Steve. I think with Mike, it's kind of hit or miss, man. Like so much of his offense, and this is something that people talked about throughout the last 2 years of Miami struggling. So much of it is timing, more than most offenses. But if the timing is off, if the quarterback is pressured and he has to move, the whole thing just seems to fall apart. The whole thing. There isn't a chance for the receivers to really make adjustments, or at least in Miami, they just couldn't seem to play off. They couldn't really adjust once the play did not work exactly how it was supposed to. Is that a failure of the offense and the coaching, or is that a failure of the players being unable to make adjustments on the fly? We'll see what that looks like in Los Angeles. So yeah. So sticking with this game, but also talking about another. Actually, this is just another picture of Justin Herbert just getting absolutely wrecked. Unfortunately, yeah, like he was just getting manhandled throughout this entire game. It was not. It was not good. It was not good. Let me see here. And this is something that we people have not been talking about too much, in my opinion. There's a great individual performance, but this is the former Baltimore Raven, number 98 there, Adofe Owe. The Chargers defense was able to get 5 sacks during that wild card game against the Patriots. We've already know that the Patriots offensive line would not improve much throughout the playoffs. They were allowing Drake May just to get absolutely smacked every single game, and it did not get worse. It just got it did not get it wasn't better during the wild card round. It just got progressively worse. But yeah, Drake May getting sacked 5 times against the Chargers there. They were able to win this one, but able to come away with a little bit of an excellent performance by Owe by the Chargers there. He racked up 3 sacks during this game, man. So something that kind of got lost with the Chargers losing. The talk was about Justin Herbert once again not being able to get it done, the offense looking terrible, the Patriots being able to win and come back in the fourth quarter, things like that. That was kind of mostly the talking points. And this individual performance by a guy that was traded mid-season by the Ravens to the Chargers, man, an incredible individual performance. 3 sacks in a game, man. That is a great performance, and something I think he's going to be a free agent after this offseason. So might be getting paid, man. That's a great performance in the playoffs when it matters, and we'll see, man. But I wanted to highlight Owe's performance in this game that kind of got washed away because of the loss. 3 sacks could be something that some teams are going to be willing to pay for this offseason. So. But yeah, man. But Steve, how have you been doing, my man? How's life been? Have you done anything? Have you watched any new movies? Any new music? Anything? Let me know. Let me know. Ba, 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 ba. All right, so another one here, another wild card game that was kind of boring, but it got really interesting towards the end as we kind of knew what the result was going to be, especially a great performance by the Texans defense. Let me see here. Steve, I just watched the USA hockey games. It was fun. Yeah, dude. They won, right? It was like a 6-2 victory. Heck yeah, dude. Let's go. Was that? Did they still need to play more games, or was that the medal, gold medal performance? Let's see here. United States wins bronze. Okay, bronze. Oh, actually, sorry. U.S. dominates Slovakia 6-2, setting up a gold medal game against Canada. Woo! Should be fun. Speaking of, so the men's is going to go up against Canada from the looks of it to see who wins the gold. But the women's has have already won the gold medal. They beat Canada to in overtime. Hell yeah, dude, let's go. Shout out to the U.S. women's hockey team, man, bringing home the gold. Let's go. You're loco. Hello. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? There it is, Steve. There we go. The women's team won the gold versus Canada. The men's will face Canada for the gold in 22F. So in on Sunday, 22nd of February, right on. Let's go, man. Shout out to the women's hockey team, man, bringing home the gold. Let's go. Might have to watch the highlights of that one, man. That went into overtime. Let's go. Absolutely, man. Freaking legends, man. I have been sleeping nonstop, bro. Are you okay, my man? Are you sick or are you just kind of tired? Is it? I mean, hey, man, take the sleep when you can get it, my man. But I hope you're doing well, my man. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I actually woke up way later than I usually do. I think I woke up at like, what was it, like close to 10 today? Which my plan was to be up by at least 8, but that did not happen. Did not happen. But of course, just like anything else, man, we get things done when we can. I really don't know. Boredom of having no football to watch. Mostly boredom. I miss football. 100%, my man. 100%. Like I said, like when I opened up today, man, I was like, dude, my body feels like it's just like, ooh. David Stegosaurus, hello. Hello, good sir. How are ya? Welcome, welcome. But yeah, your local, I agree with you, man. Like, I feel like this week was like the first time where I was like, oh, like the body felt like it was like, oh, there's no football. There's there's no. It's not a break. It's not a in between. You know, like kind of like that week between the Super Bowl and the championship games. Like the body finally recognized. I'm like, oh, the football is done for a while. So yeah, I gotta do something, man. I gotta do something. So I've been working a little bit, trying to, like I said, during the off season, I try to work a little bit more to try to save up so I can actually take time off during the season to try to do all the streams. But man, dude, yeah, boredom is it's not always a bad thing, man. Sometimes that's when you bring out your most creativeness. You know, the urgency that you feel. Your local Tom Grassi is doing some chaotic good right now. Have you seen what he's been doing? Yeah, he's doing the $1 million charity stream. Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah, dude. Yeah, what today is day like what 5 or 6 that he's been on, man. Yeah, Tom is this is his second year doing it, right? Heck yeah, dude. Yeah, if you don't know Tom Grassi, obviously he's a Packer fan. Obviously, especially if you know my channel, you probably know Tom. But if you don't know, he's been trying to raise money for charities for a long time. He's been doing it for years. The last year he did, he was able to like what raise like $1 million for charity in like I think it was like less than 2 weeks. So he's doing that again. I think this year it's for I'm trying to think here. I think was it like debt, medical debt is this year's charity that he's trying to do. So yeah, man. So if you do have a chance, if you if you have money to donate, great. If you don't, at least try to maybe give a shout out. Try to support the stream. Maybe send it to somebody that you think it could help. So yeah, but yeah, shout out to Tom, man. He's helped out the channel immensely. This channel specifically. So yeah, man. He's on part 11. Crazy. Yeah, dude. Yeah, because I remember last year he did it like even when he was like sleeping, he had the stream going on. So yeah, dude, Tom is I'm gonna tell you right now, man, that dude keeps working. He's probably the hardest working person that I know that kind of does this kind of content, man. The guy is just nonstop, always doing something. You're right. Undue medical death. They get a check in the mail saying that their debt's been paid. It's such a good thing. Heck yeah, dude. Yeah, especially in this country, man. Like most, more than most like quote unquote developed countries. Yeah, like it's insane how expensive like even some of the more quote unquote routine things can be, man. And it can be a struggle, man. It can be a struggle to try to get out of that. It just trying to deal with that along with trying to balance everything else. It's not like if you have a massive medical debt, it's not like other things are going to be like, oh, hey, we'll reduce it, we'll reduce your bills or anything like that. It just keeps coming, man. So yeah, being able to give that back to some people, give them some relief, it's huge. Part 11, more than Fast and the Furious movies. Dang right. Dang right. Though, if Tom, I'm just saying, like I guarantee he's gonna hit a million at some point. He's always been able to hit his marks, man, and sometimes he even goes over. But I guarantee you, man, if Tom did some of the stunts that they did during those Fast and Furious movies, that $1 million, man, he would probably get it done in like a day or two. Just saying. Just I don't know Tom. I'm not trying to get that guy to trying to get that guy to do some wild stunts, man. It's dangerous, but just saying. You know, like imagine Tom like jumping to save somebody that falls on and he falls on top of like a car hood that's going like 60 miles an hour, even though you know, just saying. That might be something for Tom next year to try to get some people to watching. Be like, "Hi, I'm Tom Grassi, and I'm gonna, I am gonna jump out of this plane in a car and try to land on a road into a ramp that goes through a ring of fire and hits the other ramp on the other side, all for charity." Just saying. Just some ideas for Tom next year. Tom hit 1 million fairly recently, I believe January 25th, 27th, somewhere in that range. Oh, okay. Right on. Gotcha. 1 million subscribers, right? 1 million subscribers. Yeah, dude. Freaking Tom, man. He's like I said, man. I remember I think I subscribed to Tom like years ago. I think this is definitely before the Jordan Love draft. So definitely before 2020. I think it was 2018, 2019 when I discovered Tom. So yeah, I think he had been doing it for about 3 or 4 years to that point. So yeah, man. So yeah, congrats to Tom, man. That's a heck of a. There's a lot of you can tell there was a lot of hours, a lot of hours that went into that 1 million subscribers, man. So and like I can only imagine like I this is what I do. Like I think I averaged like even during like the weeks, the 5 games, the prep and everything would average probably around like 25 hours. Like the stat sheets, the talking points and things like that throughout. Like that's what I put in mostly every single week. Like was around 25 hours. I can only imagine what Tom does. Like he's doing like videos in between games. He's doing all this other stuff, potentially editing stuff like that, man. Like yeah, Tom is like he's put a lot of time into it, man. So congrats to Tom. If Tom was the Fast and the Furious, he would be the first man who got to the moon by driving a car. Sorry, Armstrong. Woo! Yep. You know, Neil will always be the first man to walk on the moon, but Tom has a chance to be the first guy to drive. Let's what like a Mustang. Let's say a Mustang. You know, a Mustang in on the moon. David, David Stegosaurus, you still there, my man? Let me know. Let me know. Let me see here. All right. So yeah. So finishing up talking about this play specifically right here. This was Kalen Bullock of Houston for the Houston Texans, able to pick off Aaron Rodgers, not just picking him off to basically seal that game, but that was a pick six for that young man against one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Unfortunately, I didn't want to really get this picture because it unfortunately it shows Aaron kind of whiffing on the tackle there. But it was one of the best pictures I could find of the play itself. And unfortunately, this ended up being Aaron's final throw of the season and potentially his final throw in the NFL if he decides to retire, which for a guy that is very much known for not throwing interceptions, obviously has the lowest career interception percentage of in NFL history. Um, one of the best touchdowns to interceptions ratio. Like the guy just takes care of the ball. It took what like I think over 12 or 13 seasons of being an NFL starter before he finally threw 100 interceptions in his career. I think he didn't throw 100 picks until his. I think it was either his final season in Green Bay or it might have been his second to last season in Green Bay. So I mean, and by that point, he had thrown for over 400 touchdowns, well over 40,000 yards. Like the guy was, like Aaron just not throw picks. He's very adverse to that. So, unfortunately, the final throw of his potentially of his NFL career being a pick alone, being a pick six in the playoffs, tough to kind of muster, man. It might be a motivation for him to come back one more season. Like Rodgers is Aaron would be that guy just to be like, I'm coming back solely because I don't want this to be the final play of my career. That's the only reason. So, but yeah, man, great play. This is something that I just want to highlight that one of the better plays of the wild card round. We got a lot of touchdowns, defensive touchdowns this postseason, a lot more than last year, and this was one of two in this game. And speaking of that, bringing up the other one that I want to talk about. This touchdown actually came first. This defensive touchdown. This is by the former New Orleans Saint Sheldon Rankins with a nice little scoop and score. And the reason I want to bring this up is you guys know about me. I am a big fan, just like John Madden. I'm a big fan of the big man touchdown. And I mean, Sheldon Rankin's almost 300 pounds. That is a big man, and that is a big man touchdown right there. That was fun to watch. And that's a little scoop and score during that playoff game. The last time we've seen Aaron, even now, he thinks about will he retire or not after that performance. Yeah, I mean, if teams are willing to take Rodgers, man, I guess why not? I don't think he will be back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think even though Pittsburgh said that they're open for him to be back, if I'm Pittsburgh, dude, like you just have to move on. there's no point. Like unless you draft a guy and maybe you want to sit him for a year. But even then, dude, I just say, you know what, take that year, develop the kid, you know, and yeah, I don't know. I don't think bringing Rodgers back is gonna move the needle for anything. If anything, it might be even worse. So, David, haha, throw a pick six. Hey, Ron, right? Just saying, man. Per Curry, when is your next stream next Friday? It'll be around the same time. It'll be 7 p.m. Central Time. And let me know if you do. You guys want these a little bit earlier? Is this a good time for everybody? Let me know. I didn't want to do it like around 5 or 5:30 because I know that's when some people are kind of having dinner, give or take, an hour there. So I try to kind of do it a little bit later. That way everybody's kind of settled down and stuff like that. So yeah, let me know if you guys want this time to kind of be moving around a little bit. But yeah. But yeah, having Aaron's final play, man, being a pick six, and that was actually Brett Favre's final play as a Packer, was a pick six. So kind of once again following in his former teammates' footsteps. Hopefully, that is the potentially the final footstep that Aaron Rodgers follows in Brett Favre's. Hopefully, in his retirement, we don't hear, we don't we don't end up finding out Aaron is stealing from the poorest state in the country, or from the poorest people in the country to try to, I don't know, finance a ayahuasca facility for himself. I don't know, but yeah, just Brady had a pick six in his last. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. That was against. Was that? Let me see. Patriots. Who was it against? Not the Bills, right? I don't think it was the Bills. But yeah, it was a pick six. Let me see. Brady's last throw as a New England Patriot was a 9-yard pick six by former teammate Logan Ryan. It was against the Tennessee Titans. Now that I remember, there we go. Let's go. That was back in January 4th, 2020. Oh, pre-COVID, at least pre-COVID in the U.S. Oh, you remember those good times? Remember that when kind of people were kind of normal. Oh man. Well, maybe that was the last season at New England. Yes, it was. Yes. Yep. I'm trying to think. What was his last? It was Tampa Bay Buccaneer. What was? He didn't make it to the Super Bowl that year. Did they lose in the wild card or the divisional round when his last season with Tampa Bay? But yeah, his last throw as a Patriot was a pick six in the wild card round. Pass was intended for Mohamed Sanu, Atlanta Falcons legend there. There we go, Steve. There we go. So yeah, shout out to Sheldon Rankins, man, a big man touchdown. We always love those. We love those. We love those. All right, let me see here. All right, so now I'm gonna start to get into some of the more lesser known wild card performances or storylines that we kind of got overlooked. So, and once again, I'm gonna be bringing these up, but if the chat, if we're talking about something different, do not worry about it. Please do not hesitate. I want to know how you guys are doing. I want to know what you guys are up to. Like this other stuff right here, we can always do this some other time, or we'll find it in between the gaps there. So, but yeah. But the next one that I did want to bring up was another wild card game. An incredible freaking catch by Puka Nakua. This was when Puka was still the NFL's darling over the last couple months or last couple weeks. Puka's been on a weird little stretch. I'm not sure what he's doing, but on the field, the guy is still an incredible freaking player, man. And this one, kind of still relatively early in the fourth quarter. They were down 21-24, as you could tell by the score. The Rams needed to get the ball down the field. And man, dude, Stafford just uncorked a deep shot that Puka, as you can tell, went up there one-handed, snatching that one, tight coverage, able to bring it down inside the 15 to help the Rams. I think that they ended up taking the lead in this game. I think the Panthers would end up taking the lead again, um, but the Rams able to obviously win that one to advance to the divisional round. But man, dude, what a heck of a throw and an even greater catch by Puka Nacua, man. David, I had been following Grassi's million stream this week. Heck yeah, man. But yeah, how's the stream going? I know I think I saw recently. I don't know if it was today or the last couple days, but I think they just got past 500K, so more than halfway through to that goal, man. So yeah, man, let's go. Yeah, once again, shout out to Grassi, man. Always doing some good, man. Always doing some good. Yeah, in a day and age where it's becoming less and less likely for I don't even want to say like regular people. I feel like for the most part, like everyday people do everything they can to just be solid human beings. Um, but people in the limelight, man, they are they can be self serving sometimes. But thankfully, Tom is always been able to tip that balance for more good than anything else, man. So yeah, I think I tuned in. I think I tuned into Tom's history lesson. I think he was doing the French Revolution. I'm a big history guy, as you know, Couch is too. But yeah, I think I watched. I think it was close to like 30, 40 minutes of that one. I think he talked for a couple hours about the French Revolution. But yeah, one of the I think one of the more interesting um, parts of more recent history, even though it was what over 200 years ago, the French Revolution at this point, but relative to human history, still extremely recent and still very prescient. What you're seeing not only in this country, but kind of what you're also seeing around the world. It's always how it's been. Um, the ability for the elites, whether it's wealth elites, whether it's power elites, sometimes those go very much hand in hand. The ability for them to continuously lose sight of the importance of making sure that the overall society, whether it's a country, whether it's a state, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, when a country or a group of or a society is doing significantly better, typically it's good for everybody. But there always comes that weird tipping point when the people in power, the people that have a lot of wealth, just seems like every couple hundred years, man, they tend to forget that despite their ability to gather wealth, it always unfortunately does not end well for them, and it's a bad time for everybody, to be honest with you. And I think that was even something that Tom was talking about. It's like the French Revolution is seen as like a great thing because it was able to give a lot of the power back to the people. But it was a violent time, man. It was an extremely volatile, violent time. It was not good for the people in power, the people that had the wealth, and it was not good for the people that were struggling in that during that time. There was a lot of suffering. There was a lot of famine. There was a lot of bad things and a lot of unfortunately bad actions that that happened. And but yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I kind of got lost in a little bit of a historical tangent there, but yeah, Tom, with that lesson, man. Always very interesting. Anytime he starts talking about history, and I'm pretty sure Tom was a history teacher, right? From what I remember. So yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, just wanted to highlight this one. An incredible play. I think one of the better plays of the wild card round. It was really awesome to see Puka just basically just climbing the freaking ladder and just snatching that one to make a heck of a play. So yes, Tom was a history teacher. Let's go. There we go. Sometimes the brain works. Sometimes my brain actually is able to recall some stuff. But yeah, man. Yeah, you could tell Tom was like a former teacher. Just the way he's able to organize his stuff, man. Like he always has that spiral notebook that he always has, especially during the draft time. He always has that. I'm very much similar to in that because like I need to write things down, like typing things down or even having them in like on a on a Word document. It's just not the same as like having it physically. I'm very much still a very much an analog human being when it comes to notes. History teacher and Green Bay fan. That's why I fell in love with the Packers, man. One of the richest histories in sports, not just in football. Sizzle 2290. What's going on? History is fascinating to me and nearly as fun as sports to me. 100%. 100%, man. Yeah, like there's a there's a there's a channel on YouTube, History Buffs. He used to post a little bit more like 4 or 5 years ago, but I would say he still comes out with like at least 2 to 3 videos a year on YouTube. Just incredible, man, and just incredible depth. I do recommend that channel if you do like history. Once again, History Buffs. He kind of takes he talks up a little bit of like movies, but then he kind of brings in what actually happened, what is this inspired by, things like that. So there's a little bit of an entertainment education kind of bend to that channel. So, but yeah, very fun. But yeah, Sizzle, what's going on, man? Welcome to the channel, man. Welcome. Yeah, and it is for anybody. There's a question for anybody. But what's one of your favorite either parts of history, like periods of history, or maybe just something that like that a little bit further back. Not within the last 10 years. Like what's a thing that you typically hit Wikipedia with and be like, let me learn a little bit about this, or let me learn more about this. Let me know. Have you ever looked at hypothetical butterfly effect videos if certain historical decisions were slightly altered? I yes I do. Not super often, but I do. Very interesting, man. It's fun. It's like a little thought experiment. It's always really fun. His last video was 8 months ago. Yeah. He doesn't really do a whole lot anymore. He was definitely I think feel like 2016 to like 2020 2021 was like when he was like really pumping out like content. He would come out with like it seemed like a video either every month or every other month. But yeah, over the last couple of years, not so much. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure why, but you know, it's okay. I know I'm one of those people that I always I don't really feel like people owe us an explanation or even owe us like, hey, you're doing this stuff, you need to be doing it all the time or always, stuff like that. It's like, hey, life happens, things change. But yeah. But Cecil, World War II era is the greatest technological boom in human history, along with being the most violent time. That's where I wrote my thesis on. Let's go, man. Heck yeah. You gotta get that capstone, my man. Yep. Yeah, I wrote my thesis, my capstone on. Granted, this was an undergraduate degree. Um, I wrote mine on the Korean War, basically, kind of that tumultuous time in I was gonna say in U.S. history, but it was kind of world history at that time. You know, it was just before the Cold War, but just after World War II, and it's an area and a period that really gets forgotten. But it's there's so much of the ramifications of World War II that, and then obviously the lead up, what things that led up to the Cold War that affected, you know, the 70s, the 80s, into the 90s, and well, even into the 2000s, kind of like the world on terror, things like that. Some of the ripple effects. So yeah. But yeah, man, heck yeah, dude, writing a thesis, man. I not gonna lie, man. There's a part of me that misses doing those assignments, man. I was a person that was a little bit of a I was a little bit of a procrastinator. I would always do I would do the research, but I would not write the paper until like 2 days before it was due, and I would just pull all nighters. And luckily, thankfully, most of the time the paper would end up pretty good, even though I never really had like drafts. I would just kind of rewrite it as I was going along and kind of rearrange it as I went. Probably not the most efficient, but it works for me. Um, but yeah, I think I ended up getting an A on that paper. So let's go. So yeah, and unfortunately, thankfully, that was like the only thing we got graded on during that class. So I ended up getting an A on the class. So, but yeah, but Sizzle, how'd you do? How'd you do on the paper, man? Let me know. And also, what was like your, give me your 2 to 3 to 4 sentences. Give me that paragraph, that opening paragraph, my man. Let me know. All right. So as much as it pains me, I gotta give some flowers to this freaking guy. Uh, Mainly because it was something that that I experienced in real time. So this is obviously Colston Loveland, the rookie tight end for the Chicago Bears. He was a top 10 pick. I did not know much of anything about this guy during the draft. I knew he was a pretty athletic tight end, um, and out of Michigan State. Sorry, not Michigan State, Michigan. Um, and when he was drafted, I was in Green Bay. I was at Lambeau Field. I was watching this on the TV as Chicago was on the clock, and I was sitting basically 7 to 8 feet from a Chicago Bears fan that was hoping for an offensive lineman or somebody that would make a big splash. And when Roger Goodell got to the podium and said, Colston Loveland, tight end, Michigan, the immediate reaction for that Chicago Bears fan was, "What the F? We suck." That was literally what he said. I was like, holy cow. And it was funny because we were like, why would you spend a top 10 pick on a tight end? Let me see here. David, boo. Indiana Bears, boo. I know. I know. I agree. I agree. But this guy had a heck of a rookie season, man. Heck of a rookie season. Sizzle, I got an A minus. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Hey, I like it. I like it. My specific title was the Battle of the Bulge. Basically, the most casualties for a specific battle in World War II for the USA. The Battle of the Bulge, man. Tough. Yeah, and that was like the World War II was considered obviously the war, the war of the trenches. That was like the final war that really was like dealt in that kind of warfare. There was still a lot of that obviously during World War II, but with the advancements in planes, obviously the tanks was a big part of World War II, even more so than World War One. Obviously, the Panzer tank was obviously one of the more famous for Germany and things like that. But yeah, man, it's the amount of casualties for the World War II, man. It is still the most deadly war in world history. Unfortunately, hopefully that title never gets reclaimed by anything else in the future. Um, but yeah, man, it's yeah, that's a heavy topic to talk about. But yeah, man, congratulations on the A, by the way. Let's go. Gotta get those A minuses wherever you can, man. I'll take an A minus. I'm not as well versed in World War One history, but I heard in 1918 soldiers and civilians were on the brink of full mutiny and overthrow of the respective program. Yeah, man, it was um there was a lot of there was a so with World War One, there was a lot of dissatisfaction with um and I'm kind of glossing over a lot of the more nuanced stuff. But there's a lot of build up to World War Two, and not just in one or two countries, but it was multiple countries. Like obviously the assassination of Frank Ferdinand was one of many, and I mean many, assassinations of either high political figures or kind of like people of elite status, people with old money that were still part of like royalty. There is multiples of those, and we can kind of go into we could go into the history of, but I don't have my notes, so I'll refrain because I don't want to get the time the kind of the time frames wrong. But there was a build up to that. It was not just that was like the oh that was the one thing. No, like it was a build up to that. Um, and the biggest so that was like what kind of led up to World War. There's a lot of tension. There was a lot of dissatisfaction with territories being owned by other countries. It was like very much of like almost like annexation. Like basically second class citizens were like we're tired of this, and anarchists kind of took a I don't want to say take advantage of that, but there was an opportunity for them to be able to make a statement, and we're beginning to see a lot of that during that time, during those decade to decade and a half leading up to World War One. With World War Two, it was a little bit more of a response of what happened in after World War One, the Treaty of Versailles, the 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 desperation that Germany felt because of um, the crippling sanctions that were put on them. There's debate of whether it was right or wrong, but it led to an opening for the 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 Nazi party, that took a hold of like, hey, we can give everything back to you that we lost. And with so many people desperate for some light at the end of the tunnel, unfortunately, when you're drowning, you will grab onto anything. And unfortunately, it led to some horrific things in World War II. That's why you got to learn from it. And once again, we can get into the whole thing, but those are the kind of the biggest differences. World War II was a very much a response of desperation after what happened after World War One, and World War One was a response to kind of like the repercussions of like the French Civil War, things like that, where it was still royalty, that old kind of money that was beginning to kind of grate against some more. I'm trying to think of the proper word, but a little bit more independence from other countries that were seeing themselves being treated as second class citizens. So things like that. But anyway, I digress. Tom is going to do a little bit better job of talking about that. France was a crybaby about the German deal. Yes and no. To be fair to France, they were. I mean, it's not like they got. It's not like they weren't getting bombarded, literally and figuratively, during World War One. Once again, it was an emotional response to sanction Germany. Once again, there's still debate whether it was right to go that far. I mean, we're talking about like millions of people dying, and you wanted to make sure that it did not happen again. So once again, the punishment they felt needed to be swift, and it needed to be very much understood that this is not okay. Once again, that that response opened up an opportunity for something even, I don't want to say worse because it's comparative, but something that ended up leading into something really badly, and that's something where you need to find the balance. And I think that was a lesson learned during that period. Is I think there's needs to be obviously there needed to be repercussions from Germany during after World War I, but there also needs to be an ability for that country to grow and learn, and and not to a point where its citizens are the ones that are suffering, if that makes sense. It's one thing if you want to sanction the government. It's one thing if you want to sanction the people that were in power. But when you have the majority of the society that is continuing to suffer for decades through famine, through inability to live, you're only going to create something that's going to be worse down the line. And hopefully and I think that's something that they learned after World War II. Because you did not see Germany fall into that kind of depression, that kind of economic as well as societal depression. Because I think they learned from that mistake in World War One. They're like, okay, we need to sanction them, we need to punish the people that did these things, but the society itself needs to still function after World War II. So, a little bit. Anyway, um, sorry, I'm missing the chats here. Sorry. The Russo-Japanese War set the stage for Japanese imperialism, directly leading to World War II. You're spot on. Lots of buildup. Yep. Not World War II, but my fave quote about World War: "If reason prevails, is ways to obtain a better peace than which is existed prior to the hostilities." There we go. Mm-hmm. To be fair, you know, back then, I think France is okay now. You know, we all need to learn. Dahlia, welcome, welcome. Hey guys, wow, War Talk. This is definitely a Hangout live. Yes, it is. Just stopping by to say hi to you guys. Hello. Dahlia, hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Steve, and what was the rise of the mustache? Oh, heck yes, man. The mustache. Unfortunately, I can't grow a mustache. Unfortunately, it's just this. I can grow a decent beard, though. A decent beard. Not a great one, but a decent one. Also, in addition to the Russo-Japanese War, shattered the illusions of European dominance in Asian countries, which eventually led to colonial collapse. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. It's the one thing I've learned about, and this is I think this is true for kind of life, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm not falling into the well, there's good and bad on both sides. Like I'm not trying to fall into that because I think there is a side that you can lean into that is the more positive of the two, but I guess there's always a little bit of a silver lining to when something happens. Um, like you seeing the response, and this is coming from being able to. I was able to talk to some people when I went to college that were from Germany that were kind of studying abroad, and just the consistent. I don't want to say reminders. It's not even like necessarily a guilt, but the consistent teachings of what led up to the Nazi regime taking over during that time, and making sure that they do not want to fall into that kind of nationalistic, kind of jingoistic idea. It's one thing to have pride in your country and even in your own like familial heritage. It's a whole other thing to say this is what we need to preserve it because it is better than what could be coming through, whether through immigration or some other thing. That's where you start to find like there needs to be a balance, and I think Germany over the last 40 years have done a really good job of trying to strike that balance of still having pride in their identity as a country and their history, but also not going so far as to be like we're the greatest thing and we're never gonna like it's you got to find that balance. And you know not let's just say not every country finds that balance. It sometimes it fluctuates. It's not always all the time, but yeah, it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. Yeah, and I think we can all agree the collapse of colonialism, even though it's still kind of still there, obviously, in some places in the world. Um, Puerto Rico was a little bit of a discussion in the recent weeks, kind of. But yeah, man, it's I think we can all agree that it was probably a good thing that that is kind of going by the wayside. It's no longer a thing, you know. But anyway, sorry, this veered into history and a lot of things very quickly. But anyway, but yeah, but anyway, staying on the same subject, very similar, talking about some people, some things that just the Chicago Bears. But yeah, no. Anyway, the reason I wanted to bring up Colston Loveland, man, he played an incredible game against the Green Bay Packers, man, going over 120 yards during that game. Is an excellent performance, a really great capstone, a cap to an incredible rookie season by what is looking like one of the best young tight ends in the NFL. And the reason I wanted to bring him up is because of the response by the Chicago Bears fans early on. Obviously, there is going to be some fans that were like, hey, I love this guy. Hopefully, he can help us out. But there was a lot that were like, really? A tight end in the top 10? What the heck? And the first month or two, it was looking like it was just going to be a quiet tight end rookie season, which is normal. But man, dude, this kid really turned it on, man. The Oakland Raiders, during that game, I think he finished with over 150 yards, maybe, or actually, no, it might have been more. Let me double check here. Colston Loveland. Of course. Can never find anything. Can never find the answer anymore. Oh, sorry. It was against the Bengals. My apologies. Against the Bengals, 6 catches, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns. Man, that was it was this best performance in the regular season. So incredible. The way the mustache man rise to come to the leader of Germany is one of the most amazing things you can read about. He was ahead of his time back then, back in this thing. Tooney, Wright, and Ben Johnson, three biggest reasons Caleb succeeded, in my opinion. I agree with you, man. The improvements by the offensive line for Chicago, man, was from the beginning of the season, even going back to last season, to what they ended up looking like, almost night and day. Like during that loss against the Rams in the divisional round, Caleb was not sacked a single time. There was a little bit of pressure, but he was always able to find some space to be able to move out of the pocket, which was not always the case. And do not get it twisted. The Rams tried to keep Caleb inside. It just did not work, man. The big guys able to give Caleb time, and they were able to really, really give him an option to kind of always find an escape plan. And that's a credit to Ben Johnson. That's a credit to those guys, man. It was as much as I hate to say it, it was an incredible season for the Chicago Bears, man, and something if they can build off of, they can potentially be a dang good team for quite a bit there. So, but yeah, but I did want to highlight this guy, man. The fans were not super positive when he was drafted, but I think by the end of the season, they're going to be very much looking forward to what this guy has in store for them, as well as the rest of that offense. That it's also very, very young. A lot of young receivers, a lot of cheap guys, some really good offensive linemen, and a quarterback that is approaching, not there yet, but is approaching that top 10 echelon of quarterbacks. Let's see if Caleb can take that next step next year. Steve, it is crazy to me that Chicago come back against Green Bay 2 times this season. Yeah. Scoring 25 points in the fourth quarter in the wild card round, man. It's still just one of the worst fourth quarters of all time for me. Just terrible. Sizzle, nearly every time I watched, right, he was face planting a D lineman. Caleb was there 5 seconds chilling. Honestly, he's actually should have been a bit better too. Probably. I think Caleb was so used to just kind of running. Sometimes he would kind of be on the move instead of just kind of staying in the pocket and then just delivering a throw. I think he was so used to just trying to buy time that we'll see we'll see what he looks like next year. So, not to be outdone, I did want to bring up this guy right here, Romeo Dobbs, man. Romeo with an incredible postseason as something that he tends to do, man. Anytime Romeo gets in the playoffs, especially in the wild card, this guy tends to show up in a big way. Let's see here. He finished last this past season. Let me see here. Where are you? So yeah, so this was back in 2023. This was his performance against the Dallas Cowboys. 6 catches, 151 yards, and a touchdown when they blew out the Cowboys. Sorry, Steve, not to bring up old wounds, but kind of wanted to bring that up, man. But yeah, dude. And then let me see here. And then this past postseason against Chicago, able to have a really good performance. 8 catches, a buck 24, and a touchdown, man. So even though Romeo has only played in 4 postseason games in his career, not including, did he ever make the playoffs with Rodgers? No, he did not. So yeah, 4 postseason games. In 2 of them, half of them, he has gone over 124 yards and at least scored 1 touchdown in half of those games. It's a pretty damn good performance. The guy just shows up, man. The guy just shows up. Sizzle, thoughts on Micah? Money well spent or disaster waiting to happen? No, I think it was definitely money well spent. It's a lot to invest in one player. I think it can handicap you if it doesn't pay off in like the first 2 seasons, but that is the risk that you take when you have a guy like that. And I think we saw what happened when he was there and when he wasn't. Like when he was there, the Packers were one of the best teams at getting pressure on quarterbacks. Didn't always bring him down, but typically they were averaging about 2 to 3 sacks when Micah was healthy. And when he wasn't, like we saw that, man. Like the Packers hadn't, not only did not get sacks, they could not get pressure on quarterbacks. It was bad. It was really, really bad. So yeah, I think Micah is worth the money. They just need to find another guy that they can pair up with him. Unfortunately, it does not look like Rashawn Gary is that guy. So yeah, we'll see. Sizzle, I had Dobbs last 2 years in fantasy. He was a disastrous for me, but I have a random spike game. I have to start him. That's true. Yeah, don't be wrong. Like Romeo is not an elite player. I wouldn't even call him a really great number 2. But I think he's a guy that is always going to be. He's going to be around the league as long as he is healthy, and as long as he is mentally okay. I think he's a guy that's going to be playing in the NFL for a long time. He's a guy that will quietly have a 10 to 12-year career because of how good of a route runner he is. He's got solid hands, and surprisingly, once again, the guy shows up in some of the bigger games. And it's not uncommon to see him have 1 or 2 games where he'll go over 100 yards, multiple touchdowns, things like that. So, yeah, Romeo is not an elite player. He's not a guy that's going to be consistently going over 80 or 90 yards, but he's going to be able to get you those tough yards, man. He's got good hands. So, yeah, he's going to be a free agent this offseason. So, we'll see if he comes back to Green Bay or if he decides to go somewhere else. We'll see. The Packers did re-sign Christian Watson. I can't remember if it was just before the season or during the early parts of the season, they gave him a 1 year contract. So Christian will be on the roster this season, but we'll see if Romeo is coming back. So it would not be surprising if Romeo does decide to leave. He doesn't. Um, he seems like a guy that is okay with testing the market, and there's nothing wrong with that, man. Your first chance to get a big contract after the rookie contract, go get your money, man. If it's in Green Bay, great. If it's not, I wish you the best. But yeah, but I did want to highlight something that got lost during that collapse in Green Bay. Romeo having a great game, 8 catches, 124, 1 touchdown. Once again, shows up in the playoffs. 4 playoff games in his career, and in 2 of them, he's gone at least over 124 yards and a touchdown in 2 of those games. So Watson always in the cold tub. Dude gets hurt brushing his teeth. But to be fair, if you've watched this season, he had the grills on, so he's protecting the teeth. All right, I think that's what he needs to do. He just needs to coat his entire body in diamonds, and I think he'll be okay. At least some of the bigger parts, like cover the knees, cover the ankles, cover the feet, and then cover like the hands and the shoulders. Just cover those in diamonds, and you should be good. You should be good. If Watson can do that, he'll be unstoppable. But yeah, no, unfortunately, Christian is. I don't want to say he's made out of glass because I feel like he's been healthier the last 2 years, roughly. Even though he tore his ACL last year. Before then, he was great. No hamstring issue last year. No hamstring issue this year. He was looking good, and then, of course, gets kind of hurt there towards the end of the season. So, yeah, it's tough, man. It's for Christian, it seems like he's getting better. His body is acclimating to the NFL a little bit better. He's not getting injured as frequently, but it's just those freak injuries that just seem to be kind of biting him every single year. So we'll see. Who will he go to if he's gone from Green Bay? That's a good question. Trying to think of teams that have the cap space to bring in a guy like Romeo. I would not be surprised if he went to like a team like Seattle, even though I don't think they would need him. They do have the cap room to bring in a guy like him, and I think they do need some depth in that offense. They need some reliable hands for Sam Darnold. So I could see him going there. Atlanta could use a wide receiver, even though they have a solid crew. The Jets, even though they'll be willing to pay anybody, but they haven't really had too much success with the Packers secondhand Packers there. Sizzle, my buddy, a halfback fan, an HB fan, said that their best receiver was Kraft. Since losing Adams, they have no number one receiver. Gotcha. Oh, HB Green Bay. Gotcha. Yeah. That is true. They don't really have that guy. Christian was looking like that guy this year. He was having some really great performances after coming back from his ACL. But then it kind of plateaued as they got closer to the playoffs. But he was still good. I think Christian, when he is healthy, I think he's starting to develop into a consistent receiver. Before, early in his career, he was a home run hitter. That was kind of it. But over the last couple seasons, like the last 2 years, like I think his hands have become more consistent. Like I said, he's become more available technically. And I think he has a chance to take over as the number one guy. I think he'll still always have that kind of boomer bust to him, but I think the games of him having 120 yards and then next week having 0 yards or 5 yards, I think those are becoming a lot less. I think you're starting to see him average at least, 50, 60, 70 yards, and then he'll have a big game. And we'll see what Matthew Golden turns into. He was really starting to look like a first-round pick the last couple games as he was playing. He had a really good performance against Chicago. I think he ended up finishing second to Romeo Doubs in terms of yardage and catches. So, and yeah, we'll see, man. It's gonna be interesting. Hopefully Tucker Kraft can be healthy. to start next year, and I think the Packers do need some depth at the tight end position. I think Lucas Musgrave has shown that he is not a guy that you can rely on um, to kind of take over even for a game or two. So I think the Packers could definitely use some tight end depth and some help on the offensive line. So and they got to figure out their running back situation, man. Jacobs was a lot less effective. He could get into the end zone, but his yardage per game, yardage per carry was significantly down. Very not very effective for most of the season. So not 3 yards. I mean, if you look at what he was doing in his first 2 seasons, man, it was very feast or famine for Christian Watson. Like when he was healthy, he had a chance at a big game, and then sometimes it would just flatline, nothing, nothing. But but yeah, if you look at when he came back, man, Christian was pretty consistent, man. He was pretty consistent. But yeah, but I want to give a shout out to Romeo, man. Playoff performances have been his bread and butter, and he showed up during that Chicago game. He was a big reason why that offense was able to move the ball early on and get into the end zone. Unfortunately, he was really the only guy that could kind of get going late in that game, even though it was only like 1 or 2 catches. But he gave the Packers a chance there with some really timely catches down the field. Uh, Imagine Puka, Chase, JJ, JSN get 3 yards. Usually means the team ran for 200 or number two went up. Very true. Very true. Yeah, I feel like, man, I'm trying to think here. So I guess we did kind of see that a little bit with JSN during the Super Bowl. He didn't really have a big game in Super Bowl 60. JSN, he was pretty quiet during that game. Puka tends to be a volume receiver. He tends to catch a lot of passes, which typically ends up with some higher yardage situations. But which we will get to Puka during one of these talks here. But yeah, man, Puka is a volume guy. He tends to get some big catch, a lot of volume. All the other guys tend to be kind of like down the field, big I don't want to say boomer bust because I feel like Jamar Chase is consistently getting like around 80 to 100 and something yards. But yeah. Dave, I petition you put a football on the helmet shelf for 2 minute warning or halftime. Okay. I like it. I like it. Hold up. Hold up. Hey. Gonzalez had the best performance of his career. He locked up JSN 100%. 100%. Last week I did, he was one of my, because we broke down the Super Bowl. He was one of the 2 or 3 guys that I mentioned that quietly had an incredible performance, but that kind of just got lost in the coverage because of other guys even have either having a good game or just the narratives. Christian Gonzalez, I don't think he got the recognition that he probably should have gotten for that performance in the Super Bowl. Man, he was consistently the best defensive player for the Patriots in that game. So to me, if the Patriots would have won, he likely to me was going to be one of the top 2 guys that had a chance to win Super Bowl MVP because he was incredible, absolutely incredible. But yeah, 100% agree with you. Steve, just let Puka forget Sweeney, and he will be. Jesus, Jesus. All right, hold up. Let me get that football out of here. Dude was going full extension. It was 40 yards down the field. It was unbelievable. Without him, it's 45-13. 100%. 100%, man. Because what was it? There was a deep shot to Rashid Shaheed that that Sam Darnold easily could have had a touchdown, and freaking Christian Gonzalez, man, able to stop him. Yeah, man. Let me make this a little bit smaller because I'm getting blocked up here. So, Demarcus Robinson is another receiver that I want to bring up, man. Had a great freaking performance in that victory in the wild card round. You see here. Yeah, against Philly, he had 6 catches, 111 yards, and a touchdown, man. And obviously, the picture right here is that touchdown catch. Demarcus Robinson, man, underappreciated, did not really get talked about. The biggest talking point was the Eagles losing. Obviously, couldn't defend their title, and Brock Purdy and everything else. George Kittle, I think, got hurt during this game, so that was another thing that was being talked about. But Demarcus Robinson, man, had a great freaking game, consistently just catching stuff down the field, catching first downs, getting into the end zone. Was a big reason why they were able to beat the Philadelphia Eagles 23-19. So, Steve, cry, Eagles cry. Yep, and they sure were crying after this one, man. So shout out to Demarcus Robinson. Underappreciated performance. Underappreciated. So I'm excited for my team in 2 years. I think we got a QB. I'll take Dawes, by the way, but we're in Cap Hell, New Orleans Saints. Yeah, man, you guys have been in Cap Hell for a couple of years, man. Like those contracts, they just keep pushing. They keep just kicking the can down the field. But hopefully, like you said, man, it looks like you got a quarterback, man, and that's a big part of being able to have a rebuild, is being able to have that quarterback right there. So hopefully, Shuck is the guy, and I think I'm trying to think. I think we did a New Orleans game with him, and he looked impressive, man. He was impressive. So all right. Come on. All right, there we go. All right. And I seem to be talking about a lot about receivers, man. But the wild card round had some unexpected great performances by some really good receivers, man. So we're gonna keep it going here with one more receiver who had a hell of a game against the Buffalo Bills, and unfortunately in a losing effort. But yeah, this is Parker Washington. 7 catches, 107 yards, and a touchdown that gave them the lead in the fourth quarter, early in the fourth quarter. And obviously, Buffalo was still able to get the win on that one, but it was not because of whatever Parker was doing, man. He was an incredible freaking player. From what I remember of his 7 catches, 4 of them went for first downs, a fifth one went for a touchdown. So he was moving the chains, getting them in, keeping the drives alive, and then obviously that touchdown helped, able to give the Jaguars a lead at one point early in the fourth. Could not hold on to that lead, but that is not his fault. So, yeah, shout out to Parker Washington there, man. That was a really great performance, man. I was noticing it during the game because he's a smaller receiver, and but he was killing it. So happy for that guy. I think the best player in the entire playoffs was Will Anderson, 100%. Unfortunately, his quarterback was the worst player in the. Was C.J. Stroud the worst? Yeah, he wasn't really great against the Steelers. He wasn't horrendous, but he was not great. So you might be right, man. You might be right. Um, yeah, and that actually perfectly segues because now we're going to be talking about the divisional round. And one of the underappreciated, it was in a losing effort, but Will Anderson. And mostly shout out to that Texans defense. 5 sacks, 3 fumbles forced in that game. Um, it was an incredible freaking performance by that team, and once again, an incredible job that you talked about Will Anderson, because that was the next guy I was going to bring up, man. It was a great performance, man, by Will. I think he had 2 of those 3 fumbles. I think he had 2 of those sacks, maybe 2.5 sacks. But yeah, man, that guy was just getting consistent pressure on Drake May. And I think I failed to talk about this. Drake May ended up getting sacked 5 times against the Chargers. He got sacked another 5 times against the Texans. Both wins, but 10 sacks in 2 winning performances. That was just a harbinger of what we're going to see in the Super Bowl. So it was Will on Will. Yeah, Will Campbell was yeah, it once again a harbinger to what was to come during the Super Bowl. Yeah, Will Anderson really showing up as a. Was Anderson was he a first overall pick or a second overall pick? I can't remember. I always get him and Stroud mixed up because I think they were picked back to back, weren't they? Trying to think here. Will Anderson was the third overall pick, which is just insane. Absolutely insane that a guy like this did not go in the first 2 picks. I mean, top 3 is still, you're still getting a lot of money, but crazy. Crazy. There you go. Third. Because I always get mixed. I'm like, was he second? And then it was Stroud. But I remember they picked Stroud when everybody thought they were going to pick Will Anderson. But then the Texans did a little uh, trading up again to pick up Anderson there. So, yeah. So, yeah. Shout out to the Texans defense, man. Their inability to advance further than they did had nothing to do with their defense, man. Their defense was phenomenal. Even during this game, I think the Patriots finished with like 26 points or something like that, but pretty sure some of those points were given up by the offense for a couple fumbles, pick sixes. Yeah, it was not good. It was not good. Um, no bueno. And then that leads to the other one here. Shout out to the Patriots defense once again. A performance that will get lost because of how they played during the Super Bowl, which was still pretty damn good. But yeah, they absolutely dominated the Texans offense. CJ Stroud, he made it easy on them at times because of his decision making, but there were definitely times that those turnovers, those interceptions, those sacks, those fumbles were very much an indicator of how good that Patriots defense was, not necessarily how bad CJ Stroud was, even though he was pretty damn awful. They either need a new coach or a quarterback or both. 3 years in a row they lose divisional game. Um, I think it might be more of the quarterback. I do like I like Ryan as their coach. I think he gives them a little bit of an edge. I think the offense has regressed each year. The first year they were one of the better ones. It wasn't perfect. There was definitely some growing pains, but they were so explosive, man. It seemed like every week there was 1 or 2 plays that were just like a highlight reel. And then last year you started to see more cracks in the offense, but you're like, oh, maybe it was a sophomore slump. And then this year, they were borderline terrible sometimes with Stroud, and I think I mentioned it. This coming season, it's a make or break for Stroud. Like if he does not show that he can be a top 10 quarterback, if I'm the Texans, I move on from him. I completely, I don't pick up his 5th year option. I make him play for his next contract this season. And if he doesn't perform, he's gone. Somebody else can sign him, and we're gonna go restart once again. No sense in no sense in giving a guy $30 to $50 million if he's not going to be able to perform at the right time. So, Steve, but I don't think this defense will be that good next season. To be honest, the Patriots or the Texans. Let me know. Let me know, Steve. If you're talking about the Patriots, um, a lot of those guys are relatively young, and they signed relatively cheap contracts. They could be pretty good. If you're talking about the Texans, I a lot of those guys are still on rookie contracts, so they still could be pretty good. But I don't know how many of them are expiring though. They're gonna have to pay these guys eventually, and there's definitely gonna be guys that they can't afford. So, but yeah, that's just another reason why I think if I'm them, if Stroud does not perform, get somebody else. Don't waste time. Don't just move on. David, shout out to the Patriots for having the most Super Bowl losses. Yep. Let's go. Congratulations. Congratulations. Sizzle, they better not pay CJ either. Needs to prove it before they you blow up your cap. 100%. 100%. Exactly. If he loses the divisional next year, but it's a shootout and he goes 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, then pay him. Maybe. I can see that. I can see that. But he better perform during the regular season as well. It can't be like you suck through the regular season and then you have one good game. Like, we got to start to see progress, like legitimate progress from CJ. But, yeah. Steve, Texans. Don't get me wrong. They were borderline historic. Maybe not to the level of Seattle, but they were pretty damn close. I think they were right there with Seattle in terms of the best defense in the playoffs. Um, I think the biggest issue, the biggest hurdle for this Texans team is that I think they're not as I think they're a year. So, like Seattle, a lot of their secondary was drafted within the last year to 2 years. For a lot for the Texans, they're a year ahead, which means that they're a year closer to having to pay these guys, which you're not going to be able to pay everybody. So once again, I want to see how many of these guys have expiring contracts either this offseason or next offseason, because once you start paying guys, that means you're going to have to let guys go because you can't afford everybody. So yeah. I could agree with you, but I think the Texans have one more season with this defense. One more. One more. Don't cry, New England. It is just 6-6. It is insane that they nearly have a full regular season record with their Super Bowl record, man. It's insane. Absolutely freaking insane. Because they lost to the Bears, they lost to the Packers. They were 0-2 before they went on to win three straight, or the next three Super Bowl appearances. Um, and then they ended up losing what? Their next two because they lost to the Giants, you know. So then they were 3-4. Then they won three, they won six and whatever, and then they lost the next two. It was the whole freaking thing. Freaking weird. Freaking weird. Parker Curries, do you like CJ Stroud? I don't. I like his ability because I feel like he has a great arm, but he's regressed every single year. And don't get me wrong, the offense is not great. They don't have a great running back, even though I think Woody Marks is solid. They don't have a great running back. They really haven't given him a true number one running back that he can rely on. The receivers are they retooled their receiving room the last year, and they Tank Dell. All these guys were just dealing with so many injuries over the last 2 years that you could kind of put some of that failure on them, or on the injuries, I should say, not on the players. But I don't know, man. CJ has just he's looked worse and worse every single season, and it did not end well this year. It was really really bad. So I like him, but I don't know if he can get. I don't know if he'll be able to get back to what he was like as a rookie, or get better than that. I'm biased fan, but would you call Drew Brees' Super Bowl run comparable to Nowitzki NBA run in 2011? 60 Super Bowls New England has played in 1/5. I know, dude, it's ridiculous, and all of them within the last 40 years, right? Because their first Super Bowl was in '85, right? '85 Bears, and then their last one was the 2025 season. So yeah, they have played in 12 of the last 40 Super Bowls. That is wild. And it's even crazier when you talk about how many AFC Championship games they have played in. Let me see here. So going back to Sizzle, what you were saying with Nowitzki, would I compare it? Hmm. Sorry, I don't like. I really don't know a ton about basketball, but I do know Dirk Nowitzki's career fairly decently. So I would say I feel like Dirk had. I feel like he had a higher ceiling earlier on in his career than Drew did. I think Drew was a really good player. I think he was Pro Bowl player during his time with the Chargers and even early in his career. But it wasn't until his second season with New Orleans that you really saw that this is the Drew Brees that we're all used to seeing. The guy that's used to putting up, 30 plus, 40 plus touchdowns, usually getting close to 5,000 yards, per season. Like a guy that was like consistently just top three quarterback almost every year. Weirdly enough, never won an MVP because he had to deal with the Tom Brady's, the Peyton Manning's, the Aaron Rodgers, Ziz of the world. Um, but yeah, man, it was I think that was the only big thing. Like I feel like Drew did have a lot of success later in his career, just like Dirk did. But I feel like Dirk he became like an elite player, relatively. I would say like third or fifth year in the league. He became like one of the big faces of the NBA. Well, I think Drew really didn't get that until he left San Diego and then kind of really started to get with the Sean Paytons. So maybe. David, I would say go Drew Brees, but have no further educated opinion to add. You know, I don't think, like Drew is always a guy that you can root for, man. He was knocked by his size. Coming out of college was always, when he got injured, everybody saw him as like damaged goods, while Sean Payton was like, no, this guy can still rip it. Even though Drew was like never seen as a guy that could throw the ball like 70, 80 yards, like an Aaron Rodgers or anything like that, but Drew had an incredible deep ball, man. Like just the touch that Drew had on that ball, man, it was incredible. Like he could throw it. He could. I think he had a stronger arm than Peyton, but he didn't have a cannon for an arm. But he made up for it with an incredible freaking arc on his throws. Incredible accuracy too. At what like almost like 75% was one of his NFL seasons. Like I think he broke the all time season record for percentage like multiple times. Like Drew was an accurate guy, man. Sizzle, Dirk beat Kobe, KD, Miami, Big Three. Yep. Drew's beat Kurt, Favre, Manning, both incredible runs. He had 8 touchdowns, 0 turnovers in that. Oh, okay. Hmm. trying to think here. So the only thing, and I think this is where the comparison maybe breaks down, just because of the way the sports are, the way you can build a team, is that Kobe. I think we're talking about a guy that won 5 championships in his career. With KD, how many championships did he have? 2 or 3, right? I think he won 2 with the Warriors, and then Miami is big three. They obviously won 2 during those 4 years that they were together. Like Kurt, he won a Super Bowl, went to another, lost to Tom Brady. Brett won one, lost to not to Peyton, but to oh my god, played for the Broncos. Can't remember his name right now. Holy cow, I'm forgetting his name. But weirdly enough, they almost lost, like very similar. And then Peyton Manning, 2 Super Bowl titles, 5 time MVP, right? But yeah, it's. I feel like in the NFL, the personal accolades are, it's easier to compare them with the NFL, because like I feel like the personal accolades, quarterbacks win them more. But when it comes to NBA titles, I feel like there's very few guys in the NFL, even before like the Mahomes, the Tom Brady era. It was not super common to see quarterbacks or very like guys like that to win multiple titles. It just isn't really the case. But I do agree. It was a great performance by Dirk, man. Like you can tell, I mean, the captain of that freaking team during that 2011 run. So yeah, I guess because I feel like the Mavs were always they were underdogs throughout all 3 of those matchups. I think they were definitely the underdog during the Laker series. The Oklahoma, I feel like they were, it was a little bit more of an even comparison, but I think still people thought that Oklahoma was a young team on the rise, and this was the season that they would finally vanquish the old guard, the Mavs that were always consistently in the run. So yeah, I could see the comparison. I can see the comparison. I just don't know if it lines up perfectly, but I can see it. David didn't didn't start noticing Drew until he was established with New Orleans. So yeah, yeah. Show us that deep ball motion again. Elway. Oh my God, John. There we go. This one's for John. Unbelievable, unbelievable. So, I was so focused on my throwing motion, I forgot John Elway. Dirk is the strongest ring ever since he was underdog in every playoffs. True, I always feel like the Mavs, even though they're not necessarily from a small market, because I think of the Texans teams, Houston, San Antonio, and then Dallas, I feel like they are arguably the bigger, maybe comparable to Houston, maybe just a little bit smaller, maybe. But I feel like that Arlington, Dallas area is still very much like, definitely the Spurs are the small market team in Texas, and I think the Mavs are kind of go back and forth with Houston and who has the bigger market. So, but I always felt like the Mavs were always like, they feel like a small market team even though they're not, if that makes sense. But yeah, I always felt like I agree. I always feel like they were underdogs. The only time I feel like they were maybe favorites was during the early part of the Jason Kidd era. Hold on. Let me see here. I always forget that Dirk was actually drafted by the Bucks, and he was literally traded that day to the Mavs. Dallas is the smallest in basketball. Houston was hot in the '90s. Yep. but was the best. The best is San Antonio. 100%. No, no. Like the Spurs are by far the most successful team in uh, in in the NBA in terms of the three teams in that state. But what I'm saying is the market. I feel like the San Antonio market is definitely smaller than the Dallas area or the Houston area. For sure, the Houston area for sure. What I meant by small, I meant like the actual market itself, like the actual city, the actual um, area that they play in. San Antonio is definitely smaller. Now, I don't want to. I'm not saying it's a small little town, but it's definitely a smaller city than Houston or Dallas or Arlington, if you want to be specific. And it's funny how Spurs are viewed as a small market, even though population is second biggest. Is it really? Huh. I could have sworn that Houston and Dallas were bigger. Huh. But yeah, shout out to the Spurs. Sizzle, you taught me something new, my man. I could have sworn that the Spurs were in a smaller market. Oh. I follow the NBA as much as billionaires pay taxes. Oh, boom! Taking a shot at the bourgeoisie. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Who's the best player from the three Texans team? Hakeem, Duncan, or Dirk? That's a fun question. I've always. Oh man. And it's always there's always going to be a debate because obviously Duncan has more rings, more championships, probably more sustained success. But Hakeem Aljuan, I think, was like just physically, just a physically imposing, like just a dominant freaking player, man. Like just terrifying. Like Duncan is a big guy, and he obviously kind of filled out as he got older, but he was never his thing was never about true like power. His was more of like a technician. The way he was able to kind of manipulate the 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 guy he was going up against to be able to kind of almost go around him without even though Dirk is a big dude, he was very underrated in terms of how nimble he was able to move around. And Dirk, I feel like was like a more. Tell me if I'm wrong. Once again, I don't know a ton about NBA, but this is I'm coming from it from a little bit of more of a fair weather. But I do know some of the bigger guys. But I feel like Dirk was definitely more of a if you had a pick of those three guys, which is a more of a pure shooter. I feel like Dirk was definitely more of a pure shooter. He didn't always have to get to the rim to be able to be effective, if that makes sense. But please let me know if I'm wrong. Please let me know. Tony Parker was one of the who made me love the team. There you go, man. Tony P, man, the Frenchman. The most populous city in Texas are Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, and Fort Worth and Austin. There we go. Huh. For me, Hakeem made Houston win a ring by himself. It feels like it, even though they had some really good players, man. They had some, like that Rocket team from the 90s was, it had some real, they had some great specialists from what I remember. But Hakeem was obviously, was like he was the centerpiece of that team defensively and offensively. As my number one, just as good or slightly better defensively than Duncan, slightly worse or equally as good as Dirk offensively. That's fair. LOL, Dave is going bonkers. Going, I've been bonkers, my man. I've been bonkers. Also, Captain, welcome, brother. How you been? How you been? Oh man, You know what the weird thing is, dude? I've been playing a lot of 2K the last couple weeks, and it's been really fun. 2K19 is what I'm playing. Don't ask me why. I had it. I had it lying around. I don't really buy a ton of games, um, and yeah, it's showing right now in Portland, Maine. Portland, Maine. All right. Next thing you're gonna say is you like anime too. Uh, So I'm gonna say this. I'm not gonna pretend like I am the biggest anime guy, but I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z. My favorite anime is Yu Yu Hakusho. Um, I think it's some of the best writing in terms of like anime, in my opinion. I've watched some of X Hunter. Still trying to finish it. Still need to finish it. It's a long freaking series, man. I've seen some clips of Attack on Titan. It's a thing that I do want to finish watching, but it's so gross to watch, and it's just a creepy ass looking. Those giants are creepy, man. But yeah, so yeah, like I said, I'm not gonna pretend like I'm a big uh, anime fan, but I do own some Blu-rays of the Yu Yu Hakusho. Actually, I own all the episodes. So yeah, most recent football. Let me see here. 2K19 of what NBA? NBA, yes, NBA 2K19. That's the one with Giannis Antetokounmpo on the cover. My most recent football game is NFL Blitz 2000. Let's go. Heck yeah, 2001, I should say. Sorry, 2001. I grew up on Blitz 2000. That was the one I played. I like that. Let's go, David. Bringing me back, man. Bringing me back. Still, my favorite part of the Blitz is you being able to punch or tackle the guy after the play. So much fun. It's over 9,000. Sizzle, mine is Cowboy Bebop. I own Cowboy Bebop. I have yet to watch it. I know it's a short. It's only one season. I think it's like what, like 10 episodes, roughly, maybe 15. But I do want to watch it. I've heard the music, the animation is great. The characters are incredible, and it's like space, sci-fi, kind of western stuff. It's like I love that kind of genre blending. So yeah, I gotta watch it. I do have to watch it. Now that it's the off season, I will have a chance to actually watch things other than football. Did you watch Death Note? It's a goat of a goat. I have not. I've heard the anime is good. I remember when the live action movie came out and they said it was horrendous. Um, Let me know if that's true or if you still recommend it. So yeah. Uh, Dave, I said snowing. Did you? No, Captain. It says right here. It's showing right now in Portland. Showing. But hey, snow. Make sure you're safe and enjoy it, my man. Enjoy the snow. Death Note ending is disappointing, but overall a good anime. Okay, I'll check it out. I know the premise of it. Definitely know the premise. I don't know much anything else. So, Full Metal Alchemist, yes sir. Brotherhood, okay. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is another great anime. Honestly, A1 to Cowboy Bebop for me. Okay, all right, all right. I like the recommendations. I am gonna be taking some screenshots of the recommendations because I want to finally watch some stuff as as I have a little bit of time here. All right, so Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, Cowboy Bebop, which once again I do own, just haven't gotten a chance to watch it. Captain Dave, I meant to type snowing. I got you, brother. I got you. Yeah, yeah, man. Are you making a snowman, Captain, or are you making snow angels? Let me know. Steve, Did you watch the video when Giannis Antetokounmpo fingers compared to a normal human fingers is crazy? Maybe, maybe. I mean, that dude is a massive human being, man. If it's anything, if he's like anything like Shaq, yeah, I'm pretty sure my hand, even though I have some somewhat regular sized hands, I'm pretty sure they would barely be like they would barely be able to get to like to his fingers, man. Like that dude's being able to one palm a basketball is insane. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Yeah, man. Giannis is always going to be a legend in the state of Wisconsin and in Milwaukee, man. Bringing a championship for the first time in 50 years, man. That was still one of the greatest playoff runs. Like again, I'm biased. I'm a homer. You guys know this about me. I will support any Wisconsin-based franchise, Milwaukee, the Brewers, Bucks, anything. I grew up. I went to. I spent what 6 7 years in Milwaukee. Went to a lot of Bucks games when they were bad. I went to Brewers games when they were kind of good with like Prince Fielder, Ryan Braun, guys like that. And yeah, man. So being able to kind of like watch the Bucks slowly build to that championship, man, was so much fun. It was awesome. Also, Steve, I appreciate you spelling his name correctly as well, man. You could have easily just been like, "Hey, did you see that Giannis video?" But no, man, you spelled out the whole name. Appreciate you. It's dedication right there. Sizzle, I like the Bucks winning. I'm not a big Chris Paul fan. Good to see another playoff flame out. Damn. Woo. Didn't Chris Paul just retire? Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And like I know. It seems like you either love Chris Paul or you absolutely hate him. I've never met a person that's like, yeah, Chris Paul, pretty solid. I kind of like the dude. It's either I hate him or I love him. There's like no in between with Chris. But yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah. How long did Chris actually play for? Because I'm pretty sure last week he announced he's done. 21 seasons. Holy freaking cow. But Victor Wembanyama is the one that you can't believe how tall that man is. Like watching Andre the Giant, but skinny. Oh man, yeah, dude. They like what is he like? He's like a true 7 footer. Like Giannis is like 6'11", something like that. But like Victor is like a true 7 footer. Isn't like 6'7" 2", 7'3" or something like that. 7'4". Jesus, man, holy cow. Oh, Frenchman, another Frenchman. Rudy Gobert. That's another French guy there. Sizzle Victor is an alien. He's like KD but 6 inches tall. Yeah, dude. Like it's so freaking weird, man. Like when I see that guy, like it's always tough to tell how tall he is because like when you're that skinny, you tend to look a little bit taller. But man, dude, Yeah, he looks like Giannis did when he first came into the league, but once again, just kind of like it's like they stretched him out just a little bit more. Yeah, the one thing that I realize about that I've been kind of slowly learning about, and also like as a person that's like I played Madden games since like Madden '05 or '04 or whatever, but dude, the 2K games, man, they're so immersive. They do really do a great job of like educating you on the way that the game the 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 way the game and the league kind of runs. There's a lot of trades, a lot of freaking trades. In the NBA, like picks are traded at like hotcakes. Players are traded, things like that, and like it's really weird the way that the cap works for the NBA because it's basically a soft cap, unlike the NFL where it's like a hard cap. Like you have this much money, you cannot go over. The NBA, they're like you can kind of go over sometimes. There's a luxury tax, but then you can kind of go over without hitting the luxury tax if you have like bird years with a player, you can kind of go over. But if you don't have the bird years, you can't go over with this player. You can't pay him unless you're under the cap. It's a whole weird thing. Sizzle Yao Ming was skilled at 7'6", but could not move. True big slow center, 100%, 100%, man. Yao Ming, yeah, he was yeah, like these guys nowadays, man, like they're tall as heck, but they like Giannis, moves like the way he's able to dribble, he moves like a point guard, but he's anywhere between 4 to 7 inches taller than your average point guard in the NBA. Even though he can dribble almost as quickly and kind of can maneuver like a point guard, it's wild. Come on now, leave KD alone. He's seen we've seen his files released before the file that files. Like talking about the burner account. Yeah. Yeah, the one thing that it still baffles me why they did it. I understand the rationale, and I think I talked about this at some point throughout the last like year or two. But the fact the Bucks traded away Drew Holiday to try to get Damian Lillard, once again, if the trade would have worked, they would have been seen as like geniuses. But man, I don't know. Part of me still feels like them trading away Drew. They kind of they kind of sold their soul in a way for to try to win another championship, and it ended up just blowing up in their face. Just absolutely destroyed the chemistry a little bit of that team. I don't know. One of those decisions where yes, you get a better player, but it isn't working. Same with Westbrook to the Lakers. Yeah, 100%, 100%. Like obviously, is Damian a better offensive player than Drew? 100%. Having said that, Drew has never been known to be an elite defender. Drew was, and and like I understand like coming into that season where they ended up trading Drew, Giannis obviously still one of the best defensive players or one of the best two-way players in the NBA. Was won a Defensive Player of the Year while winning the MVP that same year. Always part of the all defensive, all defense team, almost every year, almost. And then that year, I think Brooke Lopez finished second in the defensive player of the year. So they're like, okay, we got Brooke, we got Giannis, and Chris is okay as a perimeter defense. It's like, so maybe we have two guys that can win defensive player of the year potentially, in Brooke and Giannis. Maybe we trade away some of our defense to get a significantly better offense. And it just did not work, man. The defense just crashed for the Bucks over the last couple of years. The way he was talking trash about his teammates is crazy to me. I don't know how they will play with him now. Are you talking about Giannis? Brooke Lopez was blocking shots like volleyball. Giannis guarding everything. Drew lockdown perimeter defensively. It was a perfect three-level defense. But why you bring Doc Rivers to this team? Like, did you watch that guy's career, especially playoffs? Yeah, man. It was to me when they brought him in, dude. It was you're talking about KD. Okay, I got you. Yeah, it's I mean the the one thing with guys like KD, their talent is always going to be. People are going to be like, all right, he's as long as he continues to play great, teammates, coaches, and everybody else that could potentially benefit from him are gonna eventually kind of just be like, yeah, we'll let it go because he's that good. But yeah, man, it was yeah, Doc Rivers, man. Like I get it, he's been a solid coach, and I do mean just solid. It's never really been great. He did win that championship with the Big Three over there in Boston, but it's one of those things where it's like, could they have won it without him? Probably, and from what we've seen, they probably could have. Because Doc, everywhere he has gone, there has been potential that has been squandered. Everywhere he has gone, it's like, oh, we're finally going to get a solid coach with a team that is this close to contending, and it just ends up going, or it doesn't mean like they start only winning 30 games, but it's more of like we were a team that was consistently making the playoffs with the potential to take that next step to a team now that is barely making the playoffs or just missing it, and it's just mediocrity with Doc Rivers. And Doc seems like a great guy, like well respected, well liked. It's probably a smart guy, but I don't know what it is. I just did not like the hire, and it's not looking like it's a great hire at all. Parker Curry, do you like Patrick Mahomes? Yeah. As a player, one of the greatest of all time, hands down. He could retire this. He could retire now, and he would probably be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Maybe. I thought it was gonna. I thought Bill Belichick would have been in the Hall of Fame the first try, but apparently not. I don't know, but realistically, Pat would be a first ballot Hall of Famer, even if he retired this year. But I'll be interested to see how he comes back, man. I hope he comes back healthy. Because when Patrick Mahomes when he's healthy and playing, the NFL is better, despite what some people might think. Sizzle Doc sucks, way overrated. He must be great at interviews or got secret pictures of the Oh man, yeah. I will say this: the in this world, you've seen so many people that are just terrible, terrible, terrible human beings that are also terrible at their job. Doc seems like a legitimate, like great human being. Again, do I know him personally? No. I have yet to hear anything that is like, yeah, he's just a piece of garbage. Doc seems like a great guy. So at the end of the day, if he keeps getting jobs, I've seen terrible human beings fail upwards. Sometimes it's nice to see a guy that is good. And it just, you know, that's the way I look at it. Maybe it's a balancing thing. I don't know. I wish he wasn't the coach for the Bucks, but you know, it's nice to see a good guy, even though the results aren't always there, continue to fail upwards. It's not always the case. Tibbs was a defensive coach in Boston, plus obviously Big Three. Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, man. Dude, that Boston team was, I mean, dude, perfect timing. I don't like Ben Simmons, but a post game interview after the embarrassing loss to Atlanta, he said, I don't know if we can win with Ben Simmons, torched the relationship immediately. Ooh. For me, he is like Tomlin in the NBA. All right. That's fair. Do you like Josh Allen? I do. Yeah. Yeah. I don't tend to dislike people in general. you know, that's usually my thing. Like, unless I know you or you're consistently doing something where you're like an AB kind of thing, where you're just like, maybe you're. And to be fair, AB is probably dealing with some CTE, mental health issues, whatever it is. It's. I'm not trying to drag somebody that's going through something, but I tend to give people the benefit of the doubt for the most part until otherwise. I'm not going to be. I'm not going to be wearing their head or their face on a t-shirt, but you know, until proven otherwise, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. So, Sizzle, well, at least we all agree Doc is better than Urban Meyer at being a professional coach. Yep, I don't think I've ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen Doc go to a bar and have a college-aged person grind on them after his team lost. You know, to me, it seems like Doc actually cares. He's just not very great. Steve, and that is coming from a Green Bay fan who had Brett Favre, 100%. Yep. And there were signs that Brett wasn't always on the up and up. The Mark Chmura thing in like the 90s. Look up Mark Chmura jacuzzi. I'll let you figure out. I'll let you read about that story. And Brett, with no problem, was like, "No, that's my guy. That's my guy every day." Yeah, so, you know, again, the Sticky Bandit, the Mississippi Bandit. You gotta. I guess you gotta stick with what you know. I don't know. Parker Curry, do you like Jordan Love? I do. I think Jordan is a franchise quarterback. I think he's a top 10 quarterback. He can play like a top 5 quarterback for a good stretch. I just think that there are times where he doesn't always. I think there are times with Jordan that there are times where he just misses that one play that I feel like that could spark a comeback or put away a team. I feel like that. So don't get me wrong, he can come back. We've seen it, and he can put away a team. We've seen that as well. But it's just not to that level where I'm always 100% like, yes, this is a guarantee. I have confidence in my team. I believe that they're going to win. But man, dude, sometimes it's just like, ooh, damn. Sticky Bandits as opposed to the West Bandits. The Wet Bandits, 100%. I think I've usually called him the Mississippi Bandit. But yeah, the Mississippi Sticky Bandit, the Sticky Mississippi Bandit. Yeah. He knows what he did. Oh man, I'm gonna be in trouble for that for sure. Big Ben was trying so hard to be that next Brett Favre, but that didn't work. No, 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 no. Did not. Do you like Coach Matt LaFleur? Yes, I do. Actually, I have the script written down. I just gotta actually film it. That's one thing I want to be able to get out this off season is a little bit of a Matt LaFleur kind of like a Matt LaFleur retrospective. I think Matt's a good coach. I think he's a top 10 coach for sure. Um, and I think he's one of the better coaches, man. He's been one of the most successful. Early on, there were so many people that were like, oh, he has a Hall of Fame quarterback. He hasn't had a Hall of Fame quarterback now for 3 years, and his team is consistently making the playoffs. Do they always win in the playoffs? No, but um, the Packers have played some high level football for long stretches, and I think Matt is clearly a big part of that. So sometimes I think he gets into his own head sometimes about his decisions. Tries to outsmart himself a little bit too much, or does outsmart himself a little too much. But I've never seen a perfect head coach ever. Everybody has their flaws. Andy Reid had them, still does, but it's just about finding the right balance between your staff, your players, and the situation. So I'd say Matt is 10 to 15 solid coach. Oh, come on. He's definitely in the top 10. Because you could potentially name five guys better. I don't think you could name another five that are that are clearly better than Matt LaFleur. To me, Matt is anywhere between the eighth best coach to the fourth best coach in the NFL. It's kind of in that range. Yeah, like we have never really seen a truly horrendous Packers team for the entire season. Like we've seen Mike McCarthy have bad seasons. You know, he went 6-10 with Aaron Rodgers his first year, then had a couple losing seasons there at the end where you can clearly tell he lost the team. Matt, he has yet to really have that kind of season. So it's uncle. Oh man, that caught me off guard, man. Parker Curry, that was so unintentionally funny, man. No, he is not. Steve, I really can't name four coaches better than him now. Playoff success matters to me. McDonald and Vrabel shot past him. That's fair. That's fair. Like Andy Reid, Nick Sirianni, McDonald now, Mike Vrabel. Trying to think here. See, and this is where you start to kind of, like I said, anywhere between the fourth best to the eighth best. And that's where you start to think, like, okay, Ben Johnson, in my opinion, not yet. Like, Ben Johnson's best season as a head coach, Matt has done that better and has had multiple seasons better than what we saw with Ben Johnson. So until I see Ben do it for at least two more seasons, he's not better than Matt LaFleur. Not yet. Dan Campbell, if you would have talked about last year, you could argue, but I think some people started to turn on Dan just a little bit this season. Peyton McVay, sure. Even though Matt LaFleur has never lost to Sean McVay in the playoffs. Shanahan. Okay, I'll give you Shanahan. McVay, sure. Sean Payton. Hmm. Okay, I can give you Sean. He's won the Super Bowl. I'm trying to think. He's only been to that one Super Bowl. I think he's been to one other NFC Championship game, but I think that's it. Did they go to more than one? Hmm. Hmm. The only reason I'm giving you Sean is because he did win a Super Bowl, but I don't know, man. That was like when you start talking about Super Bowl wins from over a decade ago. I mean, we're going on what 16 years now? Yeah, because they won that in 2009. 16 years, man. That's a long time. It's a long time. Oh yeah, yeah. No, I'm not. Trust me, I'm not. I'm not saying. But I'm just saying. I do like that Matt Lafleur is always seems to be able to beat Sean McVay in the playoffs. Peyton went to three. Went to three Super Bowls. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Sorry, NFC Championship games. Yeah, but you're right. You're right. Yep. Oh yeah, I always forget about the Rams one. Hmm. NFC title games. Yep. So let me see here. So he made it to one. He lost to the Bears. I feel like that should almost disqualify you. Went to another one. Lost to the Rams in 2018. Honestly, he's been to almost as many NFC Championship games as Matt Lafleur did. I think Matt is he went to three. I think. But yeah, it was the infamous no PI game. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a bad no call right there. That was a bad one. It happens. Green Bay was in Seattle to recover onside kicks, back up to the fumble. I think you guys cut him that day. I think they waited the next. I think they cut him the next day. Yeah, Brandon Bostic. That poor dude. He's done some good charity work since then. Yeah, he's done some really solid charity work, man. Yeah, to be fair, but to be fair, go Paco. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like right there, top 10, still, Matt Lafleur. Yeah, and to me, like Shanahan, and there's the discussion I was having a couple weeks ago. Shanahan, even though he's been to two Super Bowls, he's been to three or four NFC Championship games. He's had three losing seasons in his 9 seasons with yeah, either three or four losing seasons as the head coach for the 49ers. Matt has only had one in his 7 seasons. about to enter his 8th season now as the Green Bay's head coach. So yeah, like what I'm saying with Matt, like the floor is relatively high with Matt. I think he's slightly behind Harbaugh and Tomlin. The only thing with Tomlin, though, not Tomlin. The only thing with Harbaugh is that outside of that, outside of those first, I would say what 2, 3 seasons, it's been he hasn't had a surprisingly he has not had a ton of years as a head coach. I think he's had a total of 6 or 7. This is his second season, right, as the Chargers head coach, and I think he only was a coach for 4 or 5 years with the 49ers. Can you blame all of the losing seasons on the head coach if the GM gives you junk players or injuries? Take steroids before affecting players. I'm not posting the answer to my question, just asking. That's true. To be fair, though, Tomlin is no longer a head coach, though. Just saying. But yeah, but yeah. I don't know. To me, it's I for sure like Matt Lafleur. I'm glad he's still the head coach. I don't. I still legitimately do not understand the potential that he was. What it's going to get fired. Um, like I get it. Making the playoffs is not going to be good enough, but it's like we're not the we're not the Raiders. We're not the Cleveland Browns. We're not a team that's making the playoffs 1 or 2 years and then for the next 3 or 4 like we're consistently one of the final 8 to 12 teams every year to have a chance. And I think that does matter, man. Consistency and consistent success is an important thing, and I think there's a lot of fluctuation with some of the teams that have some pretty good coaches. Like Sean McVay has had a couple losing seasons. Uh, Shanahan has had a couple losing seasons, so I don't know. I am definitely biased though. But yeah, I don't know. I'm glad we have Matt, but I'm hoping he can hire some offensive coordinators that can stick around and be good as well. So but sometimes you need a coach to get you over the hump. Hmm. Trying to think here. I do legitimately believe that a coach can get you over the hump, but I think there's a lot more that goes into that than I think people think. Like I think even if they cut Matt Lafleur and somehow got a better coach, which I think it would be difficult to get, um, like what would be the biggest change? Like what would be like I don't think it's a bad culture that they have in Green Bay. Usually that is indicative of a bad team. I think the culture is fine. Actually, it's damn good. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes consistency with a decent coach is better than carousel of coaches of varying quality. Sizzle and I are doing a good job opposing a variety of views. That's true. I'll take one Super Bowl and be garbage over being consistently good, but coming up short. I disagree. I truly, truly disagree. Like, don't get me wrong. I get it. Like, there are Packer fans and I even have some family members that are like, we've wasted 30 plus years. We've only won 2 Super Bowls in these 30 years. It's garbage. It's crap. But I'm like, I don't know about you, man. Like, look at the Chicago Bears in the same span of years. Almost in the same span of years. We'll give them the benefit of the 85 year. They have half as many Super Bowls, which is 50%. One Super Bowl versus the Packers 2 in that same time span, basically. But man, look at the absolute misery and inability to find a quarterback, find good players, find coaches that can last. Like, I don't know, man. I would rather enjoy the majority of 30 years of football and only get 2 rings or 3 rings or whatever it is than to be the Chicago Bears or some other team that maybe win 1 or 2 more, or whatever it is. Maybe win 1 or 2 more, or win the same, but they're so up and down. I don't know. I'm a Saints fan speaking from a direct experience, subjective viewpoint, obviously. That's fair. Trust me, I'm not saying you're wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm giving you my viewpoint, but I'm not saying that you are wrong at all. Also, I feel like with Sean Payton, you guys have always had some really interesting players with the Saints. There were some really, really fun players. David, Green Bay is still a better love story than Twilight, and also better than the Cowboys' performance over the last 30 years. Boom, roasted. Woo. It looks like they're roasting some whole birds up in here, man. But yeah, no, like I agree with you. Like there is something to it's very similar to the way the Rams have won their Super Bowls. Like they won one with Kurt Warner, went to another Super Bowl but lost, and then for a while we're terrible. We're one of the worst teams for such a long time. Even when they went to LA, they were still one of the worst teams. They were able to get Jared Goff with the number 1 pick. That's how bad they were. They won a Super Bowl, and then they were bad for about a year or two, and then now they're kind of where they are now. So it's like, I get it. The Rams have won more Super Bowls recently than the Packers have, but the Packers have been consistently really good, and it's one of those where it's like the heartbreak. I think that's what really drives some fans to dislike what the Packers have done, is the heartbreak, because you truly do believe that you can win it every single year. And I think there's a perspective of like, to me, like I learned a while ago, and this is from reading a beat writer that helped me kind of look at football and entertainment in a different way. And it's feel the emotion of the game, but at the end of the day, separate it from your daily life. So like when the Packers season ends, let it end, move on, and hope for the next season. It's kind of the way. But yeah, Raiders have had it worst. Won 3 rings, now a laughing stock for 20 years. I think we're approaching 30 years with the Raiders, my man. I know they went to a Super Bowl early in the 2000s, but they botched so many top draft picks. 100%, man. 100%. Actually, I'm stupid. Buffalo Bills fans have it worse. Oh. The Bills, they're just like, what? They're like, dude, I'm just eating here, man. What the heck was that? Will hope Las Vegas continue that tradition and draft Fernando. Steve, you don't like Fernando, man? No, Bills didn't win anything, so they are not worse. They'll go into 4 Super Bowls in a row and losing all of them, man. That's a tough one. That is a tough loss. Says, oh, they were getting blown out too. That's tough. Yeah, man. The first game against the Giants, that was their closest chance to win a Super Bowl. Everything else was a blowout after that. Steve, I like him for that. I want Las Vegas to trade his pick. There you go. Yeah, hopefully the kid has some success, man. Hopefully he's able to kind of give. And I'm also a person like, as much as I want the Packers to win every single year, one, I know that's not realistic. That's not going to happen. So I'm always for like, let's see a team we have not seen either win a Super Bowl, go to a Super Bowl, or find success. I'm looking for those teams. I'm looking for Cleveland to make a run for the Super Bowl, even if they don't win it. It'd be an incredible freaking story. Same thing with the Raiders. They haven't seen them go to a Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl in a long freaking time. The Detroit Lions. Actually, the Minnesota Vikings can just stay where they're at right now with 0 Super Bowls, 4 losses. Um, I mean, if they want to go to a couple more Super Bowls and lose in humiliating fashion, I could be okay with that, but I wouldn't want it really. So for me, Atlanta is the worst ever. Interesting. I wanted the Super Bowl to be Houston versus Seattle. CJ torpedoed that 100%. I was hoping, man. I was hoping Houston's offense would be able to do something in the playoffs, man. But they just, because that defense was so freaking good, man. Just imagine those two defenses playing on that stage, man. It would have been awesome. Probably not a whole lot of points, but some really great defense would have been played in that Super Bowl. Let me see here. So speaking of the Falcons, man, there is a great. It basically breaks down the Falcons' entire history. It's one of my favorite kind of like video series. Is by John Bias, Bois, John Bois. It's from SB Nation / Secret Base. Like I recommend that, man. Like if you were a football nerd and you really want to know the history of a team, he literally it's like a 7 part series. Um, Basically the history of the Atlanta Falcons. It is each episode is like an hour and change maybe, roughly give or take like maybe 10 minutes on either side. Um, I think some of them are like 45 minutes actually, but it's incredible, man. And I think he does one for the Vikings as well. The Falcons are an interesting franchise, man. A very very interesting franchise. And if you're a football fan and you want to know some history and you got time, watch that, man. Once again, Secret Base, John Bias, Atlanta Falcons history. I recommend it. It's a great thing to have in the background. Great visuals, Great music, by the way, as well. It's a whole production, man. It's so much fun. Sizzle score would be 3-0 going into the fourth. I don't know, man. It might be 0-0 heading into overtime. The first team to kick a field goal wins that game, probably. Them clowns had Favre and Dion both gone. Yeah, that's what Jerry Gainville did not like Brett Favre. Let me see if I got that name right. Jerry Glanville. Sorry, Jerry Glanville. Real country boy. I'll tell you what. Um, like if yeah, they're like when you listen to a person, you're like, oh, that boy is Southern. That boy is Southern as they come. Even though he was born in Ohio, that dude is Southern. Yeah, but he hated Brett Favre. Absolutely hated Brett Favre with a passion. Even as soon as they drafted him, he was like, "How can I get rid of this guy?" I was fine with Houston not going this year just because no good reason. Jesus. Houston right now is like, dude, haven't we suffered enough? Come on. When you hear the Southern drawl, you so strong you assume the name is Jimbo Joe Johnson the third. Jimbo Billy Bob. Oh man, 100%. Yeah, holy cow, man, this guy's still freaking coaching. Jerry Glanville is 84 years old, and he is still a defensive coordinator for the Northwestern Oklahoma State University. Holy cow! Had no idea he was still coaching. For sure, I thought this guy was long retired. Long retired. Wow. He was also a NASCAR driver at O'Reilly Auto Parts Series career, 6 races over 2 years. His best finish was 65th. I tell you, man, true Southern boy right there. And that is hilarious. Professional driver and a head coach. All right. I really don't know what the owners of New Orleans want from their teams. NFL, NBA is the same thing. Absolute nothing every year. I think what the biggest thing, at least with New Orleans, has been their cap. They're just their inability to, and sometimes their unwillingness to just kind of get rid of some of the bigger contracts. To be honest with you, who's your best NFL player now? Got to be Miles Garrett, right? Unless you're ranking positional value over that. Hmm. The best player, Jordan Love. No, 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 no. Hmm. Yeah, I guess I think Miles would have to be up there for sure. Like, obviously, you would value the quarterback position more. If that were the case, you could go with um, Patrick Mahomes. You could go with Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, you know, like the usual suspects that I think consistently win or are usually part of the MVP talk for a while there. Trying to truly think, man, who is like the most impactful player on a consistent basis? I think there's a case to be made, especially last year, that Saquon, arguably the best player in football, in my opinion, he should have won uh, the MVP. Sorry, Josh Allen. But yeah, yeah, like Miles, like a pass rusher. Maybe Will Anderson, you could argue because he's younger, things like that. But then you're kind of, I think if you had one season, and that was it. Like you're only guaranteed one season with a guy. Miles would probably be one of the top picks for sure. Absolutely, that isn't a quarterback. Just because his ability to be able to play the run, go play the quarterback, consistently be able to make get pressure is a massive thing, man. I disagree. Lamar should have won last year MVP. I man. So I'll say this: Lamar is one of my favorite players of all time. Easily one of my favorite. Each year he has won the MVP. I know there's been people that are like, no, he shouldn't have won. No, he every single year he deserved it. In my opinion, he probably should have won it over Allen last year. But the only reason I kind of skewed more towards Saquon is because of two big things. One, the impact that Saquon had on that team immediately from week one all the way through the Super Bowl. His impact was unquestionable. And two, the historic run. Like we've seen, like Lamar has had seasons similar to what he had last year, and we've seen other quarterbacks have seasons like that, even better ones. But when you go from week one through the Super Bowl and postseason records maybe shouldn't count, but and I know they don't count towards the MVP, but my goodness, dude, Saquon was an absolute animal through the playoffs as well. And again, I know this doesn't count towards the MVP voting, but he was damn good during the regular season as well. So I don't know. To me, Lamar probably should have been ahead of Josh. I understand why they gave it to him, but in my opinion, it should have been Lamar. But to me, it should have gone to Saquon because of his impact. Miles loses the spot for swinging the helmet. He's never gonna live that down, dude. He is never ever gonna live that down. Saquon was an impact. Lamar is the team. Don't get me wrong, 100%. Like the people that discredit Lamar for being just a mobile quarterback, I'm like, look at his numbers, man. The guy is one of the best quarterbacks, throwers of the ball for the last couple of years, man. The guy can sling the ball at a high rate, be successful, throw touchdowns at a clip. Yeah, yeah. Like Lamar is unquestionably top five, top three quarterback every single year, unquestioned. Um, yeah, but I don't know. To me, I feel like the MVP has been such a quarterback award that I think when you see what Saquon was able to do, I think you'd make an exception. But again, but I'm also I like I said, I do like novelty when it comes to this stuff. I do like, and it's not like Saquon did not have a historic season. Like if he didn't, I would have been like, yeah, give it to Josh, give it to Saquon or Lamar. But just how incredible of a season that Saquon had, and how rare that is with a running back in the NFL nowadays. I think that I think that would have warranted something like that. But and the award has almost become a QB award, so seeing another position player win it would be good. 100%. 100%. Look at Kyler Murray. He wishes he could shine Lamar's shoes. He's a bust. Um, I think Lamar. I think Kyler is a good player. I don't think he's a bust because like his first 3 seasons in the NFL were very impressive. I think there was. I think. I think it was a mix of things. One, injuries have taken a toll on him. I don't think he's a player that is capable of just being able to just kind of jump in there. So much of what is success, uh, so much of what he is able to do as a player has to do with his legs. Lamar is capable of running just as much as Kyler, but he is a better quarterback. Kyler is not as good of a quarterback, but he is still a very much a dangerous player. But when injuries have been able to rob his ability to make some of the moves and plays that he's been able to do, it affects him. I think two, Arizona has not been a great team, and three, coaching has been a big issue in Arizona for the last couple of years. So I don't think he's a bust. I just don't think he's as. I don't think he's ever going to be as good of a quarterback as Lamar or guys of that upper echelon. I think you can. I think you can have a good career playing the way Kyler does. You just need to be healthy and surrounded with a good supporting cast. Otherwise, I don't think it works. I don't think Kyler is that player that can elevate above that. But I think he's capable of being a starter somewhere. He's just not going to be a high end starter. For another player to win MVP over QB, that player nerds needs to be on a winning team and probably has to shatter NFL records. Uh, to be yeah yeah yeah. Anyone will be bad in Arizona in those years. Yeah, like I mean, there weren't many great players that were in Arizona's offense throughout the last couple seasons. It's been getting better because they've been able to draft higher picks. I think their offensive line has gotten better. I think their receiving core has potential, but not yet to that level of greatness. You know, the Larry Fitzgeralds, the Antoine Boldens of that era. So yeah, when you put a study clause in a contract because COD comes out every year, mid-season alarm bells ring for me. Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Like don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Kyler uh, is a is a guy that's going to be there. He's not going to be ever be accused of the first guy in, the last guy out. But like I said, incredibly athletic, has a cannon for a freaking arm, man. And like I said, the first 2 to 3 seasons, man, very successful. But once the injuries, once the talent, once the coaching dropped off, he was not able to overcome those things. And that is an indication of a potentially a good to okay player, but not a truly transcendent talent. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think Kyler is one of those guys that, as long as he wants to be in the NFL and as long as he's healthy, he will be in the NFL. May not always be a starter, but he will be in the NFL because he's that talented. He has the weapons. He has the attributes to be an incredible athlete at the position or whatever. But you know, motivation I think was also part of it, man. Once he got that big contract, maybe there was something that changed. We've seen that with players. I'm not going to judge Kyler because I have no idea 100% if that became a true fact. We haven't really heard too many of his teammates trash him as like a teammate or as like a guy that isn't willing to put in the work. But that clause was bad. So, I don't know. Murray is an Andy Dalton level quarterback. Solid bridge if your coach isn't checked in a fool. Beautiful. Shacked in a fool. Beautiful. I can't call a player a bust after what Sam did to Seattle. Sometimes the team culture matter to be good. 100%. right there. Yeah. Like, could you win? Like, if you gave Kyler Murray a great defense and some great weapons, like give him a JSN, a Kenneth Walker, a good offensive line, a good coach, and a historic defense, could you win a Super Bowl with it? 100%. 100%. Would would there be some mistakes? Yeah. Like, look at Sam Darnold's numbers for the regular season. They were not incredible this season. Not incredible. But he was good enough for them to be able to overcome some of those shortcomings. So, yeah. My label as bust comes from the contract. There's a significant expectation. Darnold never got a huge deal like that. Different situation. Well, I understand the logic. I understand it. I can see where you're coming from. I've always said this: it is not the player's fault that the team is willing to give you that much money. The player did not force the team to give you that money. The team saw value in that contract, and if it doesn't work out, 100% it's on the player, but it's also on the team as well. So to me, I don't know. I don't know. But Parker, hi. Sizzle, he's got McBride and his backup. I forgot his name, was lighting it up. Oh, former Patriot. Trying to think of the Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby. Yeah, but they weren't winning though. And if you look at Kyler when he was before he had that nasty injury, he was still putting up some decent numbers. They just weren't winning. And then once the injury started to kind of, the hip injuries, the knee injuries, the ankle injuries, that's when you started to see the mistakes, the things that Kyler was starting to force. That's when the turnovers. Then that's when the really consistently bad plays started to come through. So once again, I'm not trying to excuse Kyler Murray. I don't think he's a great quarterback. I don't think he's a top half quarterback. But I do believe that he's a guy that is capable if he is healthy and he is trying to apply himself. I think he's capable of being in the NFL for about as long as his body is able to keep going. Because I think he truly is that talented. Great arm, solid accuracy, man. Really, really solid accuracy. I think it's underrated. And his ability to move around the field is incredible. One of the most athletic players at that position ever. So, Arizona Cardinals Super Bowl next. Dude, if that happens, that is going to be absolutely wild. I'm not going to lie, that'd be pretty good. That would be pretty freaking funny. Like Shannon Sharp said, even if Tom Brady was in the Jets, he will not be Tom Brady. So that also in Arizona or Cleveland right now, any player couldn't do anything if the team don't want to improve. Yeah. Well, people told me Burrow should have won MVP for his numbers last year. I said, well, it was a shootout every week, so was also slinging the ball to chase deep fourth quarter every game. True. And I think garbage stats are kind of taken into consideration when you look at MVP numbers. I think there has to be a level of success along with the numbers. Otherwise, if you are just always losing or always behind, I think they know that a quarterback is going to put up probably 250 to 300 every single game. So yeah. But yeah. Well. Who is in the Super Bowl next year? Only the Packers. Only the Green Bay Packers. Tell me if you can't prove it. I'm wrong. You can't prove I'm wrong. Not right now. You can't. But no, realistically, Obviously, the Seahawks are still very much a team, though I don't know. Their offense needs to improve. I think there were times where their offense needs to improve. Their defense definitely bailed them out a couple of times this season. Seahawks there. I think the Rams could be there for sure, even though I think they're. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams were a team that dipped. I'm trying to think here. NFC South, I don't think so. Chicago, Green Bay could make a little bit of a jump there. So yeah, I feel like it's still going to be the NFC West for sure as one of the final two teams in the NFC. I think it's just going to depend on who from the East or the North comes out. So Blake Bortles, Jags legend, was good for two garbage time TDs in the fourth quarter and like 150 yards end of the game. Blake Bortles, man, absolute legend. Hey, man, made it to an AFC Championship game. Almost took down Tom Brady and the Patriots. Well, Burrow needs to be healthy right now to get the MVP. I can't see him win one if he keeps getting like this. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know if Burrow will ever get a chance again to have a chance to win a championship again with the Bengals, man. I don't know. Just the way that ownership runs that franchise, man, is very antithetical to a successful culture. Sizzle, Seattle is loaded at defense and special teams. Just needs a little bit better offense, not much. 100%. 100%. I think if they can find another running back, I know they have Charbonnet who was playing okay in certain spots, but I think Kenneth Walker is clearly the number one. If they can find another guy to kind of be able to take some of that pressure off of Kenneth Walker, um, it could be something special. But I don't know, man. I think they need another receiver with JSN, and Shaheed could be the guy. They started to use him a lot more as a receiver, but they definitely need another guy there that they can rely on. Burrow will be that guy that may have one second team All Pro on his resume, no MVP, but we all know he has baller kind of like Stafford. Yep, 100%. Yeah, no, for sure. Like if Burrow was on if you put Burrow on the Seattle team, they might have gone undefeated, potentially. Yeah, like I don't think there's many people out there that are like Joe Burrow, maybe a top 10 quarterback. Like I think we all know that he is one of the best, but it's just he's surrounded by mediocrity. Defense horrendous. Um, I think the coaching is okay, but it's not great quality. Ownership is terrible. The culture is subpar, and the weapons on offense are at least are. I feel like the weapons are solid. I think the running backs are okay. Receivers are good, but the offensive line is terrible. Terrible. Are you about to end the stream? Well, probably in the next like 10 or 15 minutes. But I mean, if people are still hanging out, man, I have no problem, man. But yeah, man, it'll be interesting if I feel like eventually Joe will win an MVP. Because I feel like the NFL has tended to, especially the last couple of years, you've seen them try to give guys, and it's not like they're like, oh, this guy only had 2 touchdowns, we're gonna give him an MVP. They find ways to give these guys some recognition, and I think that'll happen with Joe as long as he stays healthy. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting what happens this year, man. There's gonna be a lot that changes in the AFC, for sure. I think we started to see some of that trend a little bit. I don't know if the Patriots will be able to be as successful as they were. Uh, Broncos seem like more of a stable team, a little bit more just because that defense I think is solidified. I think their offense could be better, but they just need to find some more weapons around that. Need some running backs for sure. But yeah. No great running backs. Well, their starting running back, man, he was actually putting up some great numbers, man. Some great numbers. Trying to think here. Chase Brown. Chase Brown. Let's see here. Chase finished. So Chase Brown finished averaging 4.4 yards per carry, over 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, 69 catches. Nice, nice. 437 yards and 5 touchdowns. So altogether, Chase Brown had close to 1,500 total yards from scrimmage, 11 touchdowns on just a little over 300 touches. Only fumbled twice. Did not lose a single fumble this year. That's not bad, dude. From your starting running back, almost 1,500 yards, double-digit touchdowns, and no turnovers. That's not bad. Parker Curry, did they find Parker? Man, you're everywhere, my man. I appreciate that. Heck yeah. I don't think they have, my man. I don't know. I don't think they have. I feel like we would have. At least I haven't heard any news like that, and I think that's something that definitely would have been popping up. So yeah, unfortunately, no. 3rd and 2. I'm just not trusting him. Lots of numbers and garbage time. I bet. Maybe. Uh, the only thing is, I don't feel like if it was garbage time, I don't think they would be running the ball. That's the one thing. And trust me, the Bengals were behind a lot, a lot this year. So yeah, and Browns, his longest run of the season was 37 yards. So it's not like he was breaking off big runs. So yeah, I don't know. I think Chase Brown. I think he had a solid season, man. Surprisingly, a very solid season. But yeah, I don't know if he's a power back. I think we saw that in short yardage situation. He was not. He just wasn't the guy. And to be fair, that offensive line is not very good. I think being able to get 1,500 yards behind that offensive line, that's an accomplishment and a half. So, well, all right. I can actually see them overplay Jason Higgins. Let Brown rip 10-yard gains. Let's go. I'm trying to think here. Yeah, I mean, like I said though, I think the biggest thing was the offensive line. I think that was the biggest weakness for the Bengals, and to be able to run behind that offensive line, I think there has to be some type of some really good talent. But All right, guys. All right. So it is almost 10:30. I have to be at work at 6 in the morning. So I'm gonna have to cut this one short, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, man. Almost 3.5 hours. Definitely was not expecting that, man. So first off, thank you to everybody, man. Thank you for everybody that showed up, man. Sizzle, shout out to you, my man. Thank you so much, man. Hopefully you'll be here next Friday as well. Shout out to RB. Shout out to Parker Curry, first person here. Steve, shout out to you. Your local. David Stegosaurus in here as well. Let's freaking go. So Dahlia, you were here as well. Thank you for popping in. Making sure I shout out everybody that was here, man. Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Once again, I don't want to cut this short, but I gotta wake up in about 7.5 hours here. So, thank you so much, man. Let me see here. I'm trying to think here. Today's the 20th, so we will be doing another stream on Friday. I'm gonna try to record some of the film room stuff that will be hopefully out in March, early March. So that will be something we'll be doing. So something to look forward to. And yeah, man. Let me know if you guys are interested in doing another stream, like a Monday night, Wednesday night, kind of stuff like that. Let me know if you guys would be interested in that. Because I feel like being able to hang out with you guys multiple times a week would be pretty cool. So let me know if you're interested. Leave it in the comment below. Leave it in the chat, whatever it is. Just let me know. But yeah. Dude, we talked about NBA. We talked about World War One, World War Two. Holy cow, man! We were all over the place today, man, and that was awesome. I love it. I freaking love it. All right, man. So Sizzle, shout out to your New Orleans Saints, man. Hopefully, they have been able to. Hopefully, they're going to be able to build something for you to cheer for this coming season, man. Like I said, there's definitely some glimmers of hope with Shaw, and then that defense, man. If they can build something, it could be something special there in New Orleans. So hopefully, there's something there. Steve, every time you have free time, do it if you wanted. There you go. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to do something. Trying to think here. If we do it, it'll probably be like a Monday, maybe like a Wednesday. We could probably do like a lunchtime thing, like around 11 or 10:30 or something like that, maybe. Maybe to kind of switch up the time, if we're missing some people. Yeah, so yeah. But yeah, let me know. Let me know on this video either in the chat or in the comments. Let me know if you guys would be interested in like a Monday or Wednesday early afternoon, late morning kind of thing. So yeah, let me know. David, great hangout. Heck yeah, brother. Yeah. So yeah, man, we talked about some of the playoff stuff here. We'll talk about some regular season stuff. So similar thing, some big storylines that were talked about, but then some under the radar, underappreciated players, stories, stats, whatever it is. We'll talk about those next Friday. So yeah, let me know. But yeah, man. As always, go Pack Go. And once again, my name is Dave, and I am not a coach. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for hanging out. Have a great weekend. I'll catch you guys next week.